Rising. Only 2 cars left in the pit lane before we have a full grid. Take a look up to the lights, then we'll see the countdown coming on. We're going to count down 5 seconds. Season 3, race 1 is under starters orders. Lights down, EERC is go, go, go. A good start from Richard. Look at the line. Keep the inside line down towards Tunnel. They're on the look at line well. Coming right round the outside. Into one corner. A spectacular move. Oh, big crest. And that's really hard fish. Into the bollard then. But Hamilton swings it round the outside line.
Hello and welcome to Brands Hatch in Kent, England for the third round of season 5, of the EERC British Touring Car Championship. Yeah, I'm getting a season ahead. This is what happens when you commentate on 50 billion different championships. You have to remember which season you are in each of them. But anyway, we are closing rapidly on a centenary, a whole 100 races of EERC British Touring Cars in R Factor 2. My name is Edward Hunter. Alongside me in the commentary box is Ryan Ferris, broadcast director Pascal Eggert, and safety car driver Nick Homewood. And Nick, we will only be hearing occasional interruptions from because I think his main job is driving the safety car because his throat's not feeling particularly great. But I am going to be joined by Ryan, and me and him are going to be doing the vast majority of the talking today as we see free practice about to end. And it's an interesting situation in the championship, isn't it, Ryan? Because we've got a tie at the very, very top after our opening two events at Zandvoort and wherever the first race took place. Silverstone, that was it. It's been so long ago that I've already forgotten. It was Silverstone, not the national circuit, but the smaller one, the international circuit.
International,
isn't it?
Yeah, and we're seeing a tie, like you said, at the top of the standings between Kiss and Mitchell. However, sadly, Mitchell's not here today. He's off on holiday, so we've got a substitute in his place instead.
Yeah, indeed we do. we've also got, of course, Scott Mitchell, his brother, as we see Jack Nichols decide to completely not bother with clearways in the final corner there and just go straight into the barrier at the end of practice. But of course, he won so brilliantly at Silverstone in the opening round of the season. Had a bit of a tougher time at Zandvoort, but is still third in the standings. So, of course, him and Luke Mitchell, I think, have sort of swapped cars, essentially. The other King's car here today with Scott Mitchell at the wheel. So I think King's only got two cars here today, and it's the same with Hunter Birch Simulation with Luca Gray having to drop out because he realised, apparently, at the last minute today that he was on the holiday and he wouldn't actually get home in time to do the race until tomorrow. But that would be a day late because the race will be done by then. So a basic time management issue from Luca Gray there, unfortunately. So we've got Oliver Hargitay and Magnus Ockenhaug in the 42 instead. Qualifying about to begin then. And yeah, it has to be said, the team that's really on the rise at the present moment is our leaders in the team's championship, and that is Simco, of course, with Balaz Kiss and Adam Zux having really, really brilliant runs at Zandvoort. Balaz Kiss, of course, in that joint lead of the championship, looking to press home that advantage, and Adam Zux should be keen to back him up as well. And we saw in practice Alan Axon in the independent. It says Unlimited Esports, but I believe that's just the generic livery, the number 11 that Axon is running.
No, that's his livery.
It is his livery, yeah, sorry. Somebody said, oh, that's a real British touring car team to me last time.
It is, yeah. Unlimited Esports drove, who was it, Daryl De Leon last season?
Okay. That's a bit confusing for me, because it's like, is that just a default livery the game's given him, or is that one he's made himself? But anyway, Alan, either way you look at it, an independent driver as he completely drifts into the back end of the circuit. At the sort of final little chicane there, where we go from the end of the main loop and we skip the GP loop and then rejoin just before clearways. So it's a very, very short lap here, only about 48 seconds or so, as Alan Axon starts his first flying run, Ryan.
Indeed, and you can see how light the rear end is on that Ford Focus, and that could be something to keep an eye on, because it does seem to have quite the pendulum effect. It'd be interesting to see how everyone else gets on, because there is a variation of cars in amongst the field, and obviously, like we said, there's different ballasts going on. This is the McLaren corner, I believe it is, before they go.
That's correct.
Round into the Brabham Straight, and obviously this layout probably more famously used nowadays for the Formula Ford Festival. We don't tend to see it so often nowadays.
Yeah, exactly. So I've always used every October for the best runners in sort of course, traditional Formula Ford is sort of changed a lot over the years. It's mainly sort of F4 level now, isn't it? Since they added sort of wings and slicks, as we see James Knox in his first appearance for Dalma. So he's got the full 75 kilograms of ballast on board that car. And his first lap, just 0.042 behind Noah Tuomela, who, of course, has only got 39 kilograms of ballast. So about half of that ballast on his car. So that shows you the job that Knox has done there, as Tim Neuendorf sets a purple middle sector to get second fastest for Pot Racer. And yes, the Pot Racer team of Tim Neuendorf and his son, is it his son Peter Neuendorf, I think, did very, very well. They won for the first time in a while at Zandvoort in, I think it was the final race of the day, from near the front of the grid as well, the way the reverse grid sort of worked out for them. This is a couple more laps being pumped in. Ballast Kiss, though, the fastest, 46.528, 10th ahead of Noah Tuomela then, who has set the fastest first sector. So people are going to get plenty of time to punch in laps. Here's Tim Neuendorf goes fastest, 46.507, so that's 21 thousandths quicker than Ballast Kiss there. So Pot Racer on a bit of a roll right now with Tim Neuendorf. Oh, Jack Nicholls sliding the rear out into McLaren as he goes into Clark Curve there.
Certainly, and liking the livery, very much. What was it? Was it the quick fit livery back with the Ford Mondeo era? Quite like the classic nod there, but all front wheel drive cars from what I can see, and
That's correct.
obviously learning this championship as I go along. But it's going to be definitely interesting to see, because this is a very slipstream dependent circuit. So you will see pretty much slipstream city, like a Moto3 race or a Formula 4 race potentially, down this back straight, and then there's just a few technical parts in between.
It's Tibor Kiss going 8th fastest for the Kistva racing team. I think this is Tibor Kiss's first appearance of the season as well, so I believe he's got the full 75 kilograms on board that Vauxhall. Here's Magnus Ockenhaug. Of course, as usual at the Honda Civic, it looks like the Honda Birch team have sort of hurriedly gotten together a setup for both of their drivers, and Ockenhaug and Hargitay struggling a little bit at the present moment, especially in that middle sector. You can see where the time is ebbing away a little bit. Ockenhaug crosses the line, stays 13th fastest. Let's cut to Bradley Sellers then. And Sellers, of course, got on the podium in some of the races at Zandvoort. Has started to get his season underway. He goes 9th fastest. There we go, just behind Tibor Kiss that we've seen. So a lot of the rookies, and of course Tim Neuendorf carrying through that form with his, I think Tim is the son and I think Peter is his dad. I got them mixed up earlier. I apologize for that, but it's a little tricky to remember since I've never met either of them. So I haven't really got any frame of reference other than the way they drive, which is astonishingly similar, except the one is a bit faster than the other. It tends to be. There's Connor Knight for XRL Esports. He gets the Honda over the line in 18th then. So on the evidence of this thus far, this is not really a Honda track, because none of the Hondas seem to really have hooked things up particularly well here.
No, and it's still incredibly tight at the front. Obviously, 200ths of a second splitting first and second of Neuendorf and Kiss, and then it is pretty much all within 2/10 down to 7th.
Here is Jack Nicholls, the man, 3rd in the championship. Across the line, improves, but does not get past into 10th. In fact, drops to 11th then as he drifts through Paddock Hill Bend there. It's Tim Neuendorf. Oh, a purple first sector. There we go. 18.007 is very impressive. James Knox goes fastest in the middle sector for the Dalma team. Let's see what he can do as he goes towards line. Cuts the inside to make the shortest run to the line possible. Can he do better than 6th on the grid? No, the ballast really hurting him on that run to the line there.
Yeah, and obviously struggling to get it stopped into turn 1. I don't know if that was intentional, but yeah, definitely seeing the signs of the ballast not helping with the main straight, and that's the only real big straight on the circuit that you really come across. Going from purple in the middle sector to, well, not even setting a personal best.
Yep, and just a reminder then, Ballast Kiss has got the full 75 kilograms of ballast as Connor Knight improves to 14th then, displaces Magnus Ockenhaug in the Hunter Birch, and then sort of drifts right in front of him, I think, there. We know Tim Neuendorf is 8th in the standing, so he's only got 21 kilograms, so significantly less weight in that car. Noah Tuomela in 3rd has got 39 kilograms of ballast. Then Scott Mitchell-Marm, who is 12th in the championship, has got no ballast whatsoever, is in the top 4, just 4 thousandths behind Noah Tuomela. So threatening to take that 3rd place on the grid away from him is here's Alan Axon, who another driver that's just inside the top 10. He's got 15 kilograms of ballast, but messing up the Surtees chicane there, and only 2.5 minutes left, so only time for, I think, 2 more laps then. Is that another fastest lap from Neuendorf, 46.444. And he equaled his personal best in the first sector there, 18.007. And that puts him 66 thousandths ahead of Ballast Kiss then. So still in range if Ballast Kiss can nail one or all of these sectors. As we look at Mitchell Marm, a little bit slower in the middle sector, 13.7. Towards the line he goes. What can the King's driver do? He does get up to 3rd ahead of Noah Tuomela by 35 thousandths of a second. That's a great effort from Scott Mitchell-Marm.
Indeed, and top 11 at the moment, all under half a second to pole position. Obviously, being a short circuit, we do tend to see the smaller gaps appear, but obviously getting very, very close for the top 3 at the moment.
Yeah, and you can see a lot of the drivers starting to take a lot of risks here over the curbs, particularly into Paddock Hill and sometimes through Surtees as well. As we cut to Ballast Kiss on his outlap, this could be his final attempt at trying to steal pole position from the very impressive Tim Neuendorf.
I think based on where he's coming towards the line, he might get 2 attempts at this.
Oh, purple final sector for Scott Mitchell-Marm, I think. 14.6 there. That's certainly among the very best. And 57 thousandths behind Ballast Kiss. So he's extended that advantage to Noah Tuomela to 71 thousandths of a second then. So it is incredibly tight, especially in that top 10, as you pointed out earlier, Ryan. But yeah, here is Ballast Kiss. First sector time, 18.073, 14.039 in the middle sector. So this isn't looking like a great lap. He's going to be very, very tight in terms of getting a second run on the board then on this stint as Tim Neuendorf, he crossed the line with 30 seconds to go. He is going to get a final run in as long as he's got the fuel to do so.
Indeed, and it looked like Kiss wasn't really using all the road, so I don't know if he's using this as a secondary warm-up lap and he's just going to go all out on his second attempt, possibly.
Oh, look at this. Stanislas Pajab being held up actually a little bit there. I think that was James Knox who's gone into the gravel. Pajot, he's got 6 seconds. There's Tuomela across the line with 4 seconds to spare. But I think Pajot is just going to miss out. And there we go. Checkered flag out. Stanislas Pajot stays 13th then. So disappointment for him. I don't think he started next lap in time. As we see, Connor Knight gets up to 12th for XRL Esports. Jack Nichols is on the lap as well. Neuendorf towards the line. Personal best middle sector, and he's gone fastest, 46.444. So another 4 thousandths off of that pole time. And that means he beats Ballast Kiss, albeit by only 69 thousandths of a second. Kiss is on a purple time in the first sector, but 47.0. He must have really had a poor last 2 sectors there, and that compromised him. Oliver Hargitay, I think, is one of the last across the line. Is he going to make it? No, I think he's starting his outlap just that little bit too late there. So that our grid order is very much set there, and Tim Neuendorf, the German, really excelling there.
Definitely, and small margins, of course, and I'm really looking forward to how this race goes because the pack is very, very close. So hopefully we should get some bumper-to-bumper racing coming into the first round.
So, confirmation of the grid order ahead of race number 1 then. Tim Neuendorf starts on pole position for Pot Racer. I believe that's Pot Racer's first pole in EERC British Touring Cars and in the Championship's 99th race as well. Ballast Kiss starts second for Simcoe, 69 thousandths in arrears. And Scott Mitchell-Marm is the 10th behind in third, just pipping Noah Tuomela in the KV86 powerhouse. Alan Axon will start 5th in the independent unlimited esports car. James Knox in his first appearance starts in the top 6 ahead of Bradley Sellers. Adam Zux will start 8th in the second of our Simcoes. Mark Horvath will be 9th for Finavon Green, and then it's Tibor Kiss 10th for the Kistver Racing team. Jack Nichols begins race 1 from 11th position on the grid, just ahead of Connor Knight. Very impressive there. Oliver Hargitay was able to get up to 13th on his final effort there, ahead of Stanislas Pajald. Peter Nuendorf will start 15th. And it's Mangus Ockenhaug 16th, Brody Lawless 17th, Peter Schoenemann 18th, and Thomas Raschke a second and a half off pole down in 19th position. Of course, you see Nick Homewood in the number 1,000 safety car, ready in case of any major incidents, particularly on the first lap, that might need the safety car to come out and just calm things down for a little bit until the race can be resumed. But let's see, of course. It's so easy to get bunched up here, particularly going downhill into Druids. It's so easy to either dip a wheel on the gravel on the outside or come steaming in up the inside and then find yourself going into the gravel on the exit of Druids rather than on the entrance on the outside.
Yeah, and definitely, I got a feeling we might see some people grass tracking and taking to the gravel track on the first lap on the first corner. It's going to be absolute pandemonium, most likely, and that Honda definitely doesn't look very hooked up by the looks of things. The back end looks far too
it looks like Ockenhaug has got full opposite lock through Clark Curve, steering left into a right-hand corner, which is a little bit unideal for him. Another thing we might see, due to the short length of the lap, is drivers being lapped. So they've been instructed by race direction. Yeah, I think it's in the event notes somewhere, exactly where to let each other. It's in the announcement, sorry. So drivers have been instructed when they see the blue flag to move over as soon as it's safe to do so between turn 6 and turn 1. So that's obviously the main start-finish straight. Between turn 1 and 2 by moving to the right-hand side of the track. So that's on the inside, up towards Druids. Between turns 2 and 3, that's between Druids and Graham Hill Bend. And then between turns 3 and 4, which is between Graham Hill Bend and McLaren, of course. Or Surtees, sorry.
Yeah, and I think, not sure, I'm assuming in the warm-up, maybe a couple of last-minute adjustments, if possible. But it seems like the Hunter Birch car is, trying to get as much practice in as possible with what looks to be quite a Larry car. It should be taking more part in D1 GP than British touring cars by the looks of things at the moment.
Yeah, certainly. Sorry, I got completely distracted there because someone from another sim racing championship I commented on has just sent me a message about, are we going to be unlucky this time as well? And I was like, I've no idea. I got touring cars to commentate on first. When my guys, I'm sure, are going to hoard all the bad luck, as they seem to have done this so far this season, especially with qualifying both cars outside the top 10. But we'll see. Could be a lot of chaos ahead of them to take advantage of. Now, interestingly, of course, Nuendorf and Kiss on the front row together with Mitchell Malm just behind them. So 3 different teams, all fighting for the lead of the championship. Tim Nuendorf, things could get very, very tasty because he's not started on pole position, at least not this season. And I certainly don't think Pot Racer have any poles in previous seasons to their name. So there's a lot of pressure on Tim. Although he did win, of course, the reverse grid race at Zandvoort, he's now got to repeat the feat a race later here at Brands Hatch Indy. Very different circuit, very different topography with a lot of bumps, a lot of downhill sections, uphill sections. So it's a little bit of a roller coaster ride here. And you certainly think this is going to be a real test because he has got a ballast advantage over Ballast Kiss, but he needs to make that ground quickly at the start, and he could well start on the soft tyres to try and break away. But the problem is that's going to leave him vulnerable in races 2 and 3 as well. So does he risk it on the mediums, or does he stick with the softs?
I would potentially go for mediums at first. I mean, from the way I look at it is you'd go mediums. You can defend quite easily around this circuit. as long as you take some defensive lines and keep it on the black stuff, you're generally pretty safe around the Brands Hatch GP. It's only really mistakes that cause overtakes in most situations. So I'd run the hards or the harder compound tire, and then run the softer options when you find yourself further back down the grid and need to make up some moves.
Yeah, that's certainly the way you've that a lot of the tail enders might be saving the softs for race 3, as we see. I think that was Oliver Argentide just absolutely hanging in it, or it might have been Magnus actually, just absolutely hanging it through that final set. It was Oliver. Just that felt like the rear arrived several seconds before the front end of that car did into the final corner there at Clark Curve.
Well, we were talking about saving at the time, and that was one save there.
Yeah, certainly. One driver that didn't qualify quite so well, Jack Nicholls, of course, won 2 out of the 3 races at Silverstone. Had a bit of a trickier time, still scored a fair few points at Zandvoort, but had to do a lot of comeback drives from down the field, especially race 2 at Zandvoort, where Nicholls went flying over the curb, straight into the wall at Zandvoort, sort of at turn 6 and 7, and then was able to somehow, I think, still finish in the top 10 in that race. So starting 11th, he'll be looking to sort of finish somewhere between 7th to 9th, I think, realistically, depending on how things shape out here. But certainly, I think it's going to be a minority of drivers that go for the softs in this first race, and I would not be surprised to see Tim Neuendorf being one of them to try and get a surefire win, whereas I think everyone else would be thinking strategically for races 2 and 3 later on, of course.
For sure, and it's going to be interesting to see who can come through from the back as well. Obviously, some of the newer runners running the higher ballast as we go onto the starting grid.
I think Thomas Raschke has just admitted that he's using the same setup he used at Zandvoort, and he says, "Oh, it works all right, actually." So I guess you don't need to spend time setting up these cars or practicing. You could just race, hope for the best, and see what happens. Although Thomas Raschke did qualify 19th and last, I should point out.
I forgot how crowded this grid is.
Oh, yes. So it's not the traditional 2x2 setup. It's a little bit staggered here, of course, at Brands Hatch. So you'll see Tim Neuendorf has got the inside. Looks like Connor Knight has got a penalty as the red lights go out, and we are underway here at Brands Hatch. And it's a bad getaway for Neuendorf because Ballast Kiss is going all the way around the outside into Paddock Hill Bend. Look on the outside for Noah Tuomela, and on the inside, Scott Mitchell-Marm, both in 3rd and 4th. And Mitchell-Marm is on the softs, actually. Ballast Kiss and Neuendorf both on the mediums, and wide to the outside goes, I think that was Adam Zux there, but it's Ballast Kiss that has taken the lead on the first lap here of race 1 here at Brands Hatch.
Yeah, and Tuomela looked as though he had a good start, but it all kind of bogged down as Mitchell-Marm's managed to go for, as you said, on the soft tyres. As they come round to loop the first time, and it's going to be Slipstream City into the first corner. Bit of bumping and barging in the background there as well.
Yeah, big crowd of cars behind Tuomela there, and but they are the top 3 are starting to break away. So Scott Mitchell-Marm is really taking advantage of the softs at the start here as we look at Alan Axon just trying to keep Bradley Sellers, who's also on the softs, at bay, and he's being held up a little bit here by James Knox, who is swerving around at the rear of Noah Tuomela here. So if Scott Mitchell-Marm can hang on the back of Tim Neuendorf here, there's a good chance to get up to 2nd and potentially challenge Ballast Kiss for the win here. So Kings are going very, very aggressive with their lead car, the number 22 at the moment, is Jack Nicholls, still stuck in the pack behind Adam Zux in the 2nd Simcoe as well. So it's still Simcoe versus Kings, as it has been for quite a lot of the first bit of this season.
Yeah, as we've said, majority of people on the mediums. Ockenhag down in 14th is also on the
Peter Neuendorf in the gravel. Sorry to interrupt there. Peter Neuendorf going to gravel, so that's allowed Thomas Raschke through into 15th.
Certainly, as we see a challenge going on for, I believe that was 12th, but nothing much going on there. But it's all pretty much line astern as they come up through the second corner and down through this central part of the middle sector.
Yeah,
I've
Ballast
just got to
Kiss.
say, sorry, pleasantly surprised at how clean those first few laps were.
Nick just delighted he doesn't have to do anything in the
I
safety
was
car.
expecting. Oh,
Oh,
was
we
that?
spoke too soon, as somebody is immediately deep. It's one of the King's cars that's gone to gravel, and is it Jack Nichols?
I think it's Knox.
Knox, by the looks of things.
Oh dear, so Knox in the independent car, isn't it? The Dalma car, dropping down to 16th there, as there is Jack Nichols. Oh, and he sees Alan Axon go into the gravel ahead of him, and that finally allows Bradley Sullers through. So Axon, who's been one of the more impressive rookies this season, making a mistake under pressure through Paddock Hill, and that was all the invitation that Bradley Sullers needed to get into 5th position. Next target, Noah Tuamela, second down the road.
Yeah, Tuamela, who had that great start in the race, who's not quite managed to capitalise on it, but he's now still in 4th place. I'm not quite...
and a penalty for Knox. Oh dear, so James Knox in more trouble. He must have potentially got a corner cutting penalty as he rejoined there. But look at this, Neuendorf, after being overtaken at the start, has upped his pace a bit, knowing that Scott Mitchell-Mom is right behind him. And he's starting to put Ballast Kiss under pressure. 10th quicker the previous lap was Tim Neuendorf here. So he has absolutely rediscovered his confidence. Here's Horvath, oh, little nudge up the inside then of, that's Brody Lawless in the KV86 Powerhouse just ahead of him. Brody's had a little bit of a messy start to this race, occasionally dipping it into the gravel, and now Horvath and Peugeot in the Finn Von Green cars are right on the back of him, and there's Magnus Ockenhaug on the soft tyres as well, looking in turn to challenge them. So it's all getting really bunched up as Ockenhaug has gotten a penalty as well, and it seems like somebody else has dipped it into gravel. That's Thomas Raschke.
Definitely, and as it still is, Kiss and Nordhoff still close, although it's ebbing and flowing. In fact, he's right on the rear bumper. Now, I wonder if Nordhoff actually thought, I don't really want to be leading this at the moment. I just want to take the pressure off myself, and I'll sit in second and then pounce towards the end, potentially.
Well, the problem with that is that Scott Mitchell-Mom is going faster than both of them behind 46.8 the previous lap, whereas Kiss and Neuendorf are in the 46.9s then. So some impressive pace from our leaders. They're all the fastest drivers on track at the moment. But it's Mitchell-Mom, of course, maybe a little bit worried that the softs could wear, as Ockenhaug has got himself another penalty. Oh, as he just absolutely body slammed Stanislas Pajal there at the final corner there. Surely that is going to be controversial.
Indeed, and it looked, from what I could see in the stewards' chat from the previous race, driving standards was a bit questionable in the last race.
Oh, track Peugeot. Oh, and he's surely done very, very well to stay out of the wall there, but that's loads of places gone for the Finn Von driver there. So Stanislas having an awful, awful lap there. That's a terrible 40 seconds. But look at Tim Neuendorf. He really knows he needs to get past Kiss sooner rather than later, because Mitchell-Mom is setting purple middle sectors here. He is absolutely pushing to try and keep them in sight here.
Yeah, and last time round, a little bit slow, but Mitchell-Mom comes in 2 tenths quicker than the 2 ahead, so he is definitely catching on these 2. And as you said, Neuendorf having to put in a move, but Kiss getting it sideways. Is he going to have a run up into this hairpin? No, Kiss goes on the defensive.
Yeah, as long as he sticks to the inside at Druids, it should, in theory, be easy to hold on, as Jack Nichols about to try and disprove that, trying to go around the outside of Tibor Kiss. Kiss leaves room as they go downhill towards Graham Hill Bend. Now Jack Nichols has got the inside. If he sticks his nose in front, they're still side by side as they exit there. Kiss has to go a little bit across the AstroTurf. He's still slightly ahead as they go into Surtees, and Kiss holds on to that 8th position there. So Jack Nichols looking to try and regain some ground in this championship, down in 3rd at the moment, needs to get past Tibor Kiss as soon as possible. And here comes Bradley Sullers on the back of Tuamela, using the best of those soft tyres to go around the outside. Now he's going to try and cut underneath him on the exit here of Paddock Hill Bend.
Yeah, and he's having a look into Druids. The door was slightly open there, and this is Kiss being overtaken by Nichols, was that? So Kiss going slightly wide and has paid the price, and now he's got a big gaggle of cars behind him to come and potentially cause even more pain.
Yeah, you saw behind there, Brody Lawless got a little bit distracted and just went completely wide, allowing Mark Horvath through into 10th. As we see Ockenhaug doing some, I think that was Ockenhaug or Hargatai doing some grass cutting there in the exit Graham Hill bend. And look at Neuendorf, closer than before as we start lap 11 then of this race, or lap 10 I should say. We're not quite on lap 11 just yet. We will be in a couple of seconds time, as you know, Toemela starting to struggle with connection issues, blipping in and out ahead of Bradley Sellers, which is not ideal for the British driver in his home race. We also got another break, Scott Mitchell-Malm still on the podium, still trying to put pressure on Kiss and Neuendorf. And I think there might be an element here of Scott Mitchell-Malm waiting to see how this pans out and hoping that Neuendorf goes for a risky move here on Kiss. As look at this, Sellers getting really frustrated now behind the back of Noah Tuomela. The Finn fighting to hold on to that 4th place, needs those points in the championship.
Indeed, and just seems where he needs to be. There's that Toyota just right there, although he's got a good drive down the straight, and he's going to have a look into the first corner. No. Tuomela holds the inside line, he comes down the hill, up Halewards into Druids, and still holds on to that position. So Sellers going to be getting pretty frustrated here, obviously on the softer compound tyres. He feels he's definitely got the pace to go up the road.
I think he certainly does, and Bradley Sellers has certainly been a race winner before in this championship. Sadly, we've seen Magnus Ockenhaug retiring after getting those 2 penalties in a row, and we'll see Stanislas Pajoud having to serve a penalty himself for, I think, a later corner cutting incident. Sellers all gets a good run into Clark Curve, has got the inside on Noah Tuomela as they go towards Paddock Hill Bend. Can the Rookie Monsters get ahead? Yes, he can. And Noah Tuomela on those mediums, powerless to keep the soft tire shot Bradley Sellers at bay. Finally, he gets through. And now Bradley Sellers can close that gap to Scott Mitchell. Marmus Nichols still fighting away with Tibor Kiss, who's somehow been able to get back through into 8th position. But Nichols is alongside. He's got the inside as they go into Druids. A little bit of door bang here. Mark Horvath is absolutely loving this because he is getting closer and closer to this battle as Nichols is forced to get defensive here because there's a big gap, 3.5 seconds to Adam Zooks ahead of them.
Yeah, and I think Nordhoff lost a little bit of time in that first sector. From what I could see in the distance, he was lining up and going for a move on Kiss, and I don't think it quite worked out, but they're then back together pretty much. Mitchell-Malm not really closing in at the rate he was at the start of the race.
And could that be the soft tires starting to lose their effectiveness maybe? Let's see if Bradley Sellers has done a better job saving them in these final 10 laps as we see Tibor Kiss trying to put Jack Nichols, the man third in the championship, looking to move up to second, of course, with the absence of his teammate Luke Mitchell. But of course, remember, Jack Nichols has also got the full 75 kilograms of ballast because him and Luke Mitchell effectively sort of swapped cars in between events, essentially for various different reasons. As we look at Neuendorf still shuffling around, and now Horvath fancies a go at Tibor Kiss for ninth, so that will take a little bit of pressure off of Jack Nichols there. 10 laps to go, and Tim Neuendorf is swarming all over the back of Ballast Kiss, then positioning himself to the outside in that pot racer as they go through Paddock Hill. Plenty of grass being thrown up by Ballast Kiss. He's under so much pressure here as they go into Druids, and Neuendorf has finally got the inside. Can he get alongside here as they go to the exit? He muscles his way through, and Tim Neuendorf, can he retake the lead? Here's on the outside for Graham Hill. Ballast Kiss slots it back up the inside, and now here comes Scott Mitchell-Malm on the soft tires. He's right with them then as they go towards Surtees. This is fantastic, Ryan.
Certainly, and in the last 2 laps, he's taken 3 tenths out of the lead too, where they've been squabbling, and now he's right on the back of them with those softer tyres. Hopefully they're going to work for him, and the 3 of them all slipstreaming down into the first corner of Paddock Hill Bend. Nordhoff has a look, but Kiss goes for the defensive once again. This is allowing Mitchell-Malm to have a look. Is he going to have a drive onto the inside of Nordhoff? He's having a look. No, not quite.
Yeah, I think Mitchell a little bit too smart. Mitchell-Malm a bit too smart to go for that one. And meanwhile, Adam Zooks in the Simcoe has passed Alan Axon for 6th position there in the last lap. And so that's really, really important for Simcoe in the team's championship. Of course, need to hold on to that lead. so that Kiss, if he gets overtaken by Neuendorf and Mitchell, that at least they've got the second car bringing home some really, really important points here. Keep your eye on Bradley Sellers as well, lapping quicker than all three of our leaders in the 47.4s. In fact, Tuamela is actually right with him as well, lapping some quite similar pace at the present moment, as well as here comes Neuendorf again to the outside. They touch. Oh dear, and Ballast Kiss gets wide as well. Here comes Scott Mitchell-Marm then. He's got a fantastic run on both of them as they go towards Druids. Ballast Kiss defends the inside. Mitchell-Marm is just alongside Tim Neuendorf here. Neuendorf is really going to have to get cagey here to hold on to that second position now. He's defending rather than attacking, and that's not the position he wanted himself to be in. Look at Bradley Sellers in the background. He knows there's a chance to get involved in this as well. We could have a four-way scrape for victory here. And here we go up the inside. That's very, very late into McLaren and into Clark Curve there. And Scott Mitchell-Marm is through into second position there, with Tim Neuendorf still just along the outside.
Neuendorf still having a look at it. They're pretty much side by side as they're coming into Paddock Hill Bend. I did see that there are some back markers starting to appear in the distance, so they're going to come into fruition. Neuendorf getting the inside as they come up into Druids, and obviously Mitchell-Marm going slightly wide. This is allowing Kiss to get away.
And it's allowing Bradley Sellers to close in. Look, he's under a second and a half behind them now. You can see him monstering those curbs there. So Scott Mitchell-Marm knows if he can't get past Tim Neuendorf, he's just chewing through his tyres, and he could be very vulnerable to Bradley Sellers in these closing stages here. The car ahead, that's 37 seconds behind the lead, is Connor Knight in the XRL that we saw jumping the start, of course, and getting that penalty right at the beginning of the race. So here we go, lap 18 of 23 then, so we're into the closing stages, and Neuendorf has got to try and hold on to second. Kiss has looked vulnerable, but he's defended brilliantly so far in this race, as we see. Oh, is that Mark Horvath struggling and allowing Tibor Kiss to get back past him there?
Quite possibly, and already we're starting to see that Neuendorf is starting to close back in on Kiss. It was 1 second at one point, it's now back down to half a second between the two of them. So we're going back towards having a three-way battle, with Sellers closing in as well, both third and fourth on the softer compound tyres.
Yep, and they are lapping on average about half a second quicker than Connor Knight, with 5 laps to go. It's possible they might catch him if Knight makes a mistake, but if he doesn't, then he shouldn't impact this lead fight too much, which is a big relief to Ballast Kiss, certainly. If Kiss ups his pace a bit, he might end up catching him after all. So almost there's an incentive to defend rather than try and build a gap here for Ballast Kiss.
Yeah, and now Neuendorf finds himself in the pass will be pass situation once again. And the problem again is that if he doesn't perform a clean move and get the move done, then he's got Mitchell-Marm to answer for, and find himself shuffled back to third and quite possibly soon back to fourth if things don't go his way.
You can see the extra traction that Mitchell-Marm and Bradley Sellers have got, particularly going through Clark Curve and out of McLaren as they go towards the start line. But elsewhere, as long as Neuendorf positions his car well, Mitchell-Marm can't get through, but that's stopping him from focusing on making a move on Ballast Kiss as well. So like you say, it is a pass or be pass scenario. Bradley Sellers still inching closer to them, but it's Scott Mitchell-Marm that's the fastest of this group at the present moment on the soft tyres. So perhaps he has saved them for this moment for a late attack. He wasn't able to clear the move on Neuendorf. Neuendorf immediately able to swing back through at Druids a few laps ago. But can he do it now as Ballast Kiss backs the pack into itself? And oh, Scott Mitchell-Marm taps the back of Neuendorf there through the final corner.
Yeah, and Kiss, the slowest of the four at the moment, but obviously, like we said, catching's one thing, passing is another, and Mitchell-Marm's definitely getting quite frustrated now behind Neuendorf, as we saw coming out of the Clark Curve, but still staying the same through the Druid section.
It's been a fantastic first encounter today, and it could end in a grandstand finish here with all the podium positions still up for grabs then. Scott Mitchell-Marm desperately looking for a way through on Tim Neuendorf, also just trying not to hit the back of him. You can see how careful they're having to be now through the final corner there. Mistake from Bradley Sellers, and that could well rule him out of the fight for victory now as they're about to start the penultimate lap of the race then, and Kiss leading Nuendorf by 2/10, and it's a similar gap to Scott Mitchell-Mom then as they go into Paddock Hill Bend for the penultimate time. You can see Nuendorf so close to the back of Kiss, almost has to back it up, and that creates a small opportunity for Mitchell-Mom to start bothering him. And look, Bradley has already caught them back up despite having that moment at the final corner.
Certainly, and with the few incidents going on, actually, Kiss was the faster of, or pretty much running the same times, but Nuendorf on the back of him as they come round for the penultimate time and going to start the final lap. Nuendorf's got to do something quickly here, and he's got to be pretty clean.
Yeah, we run and board them with Scott Mitchell-Mom. You can see Nuendorf going this way and that, Kiss snaking back to the racing line then. Before Paddock Hill Bend as they start the final lap of the race. Time is starting to run out here. Can Ballast Kiss hold on? Can Tim Nuendorf get through? Can Scott Mitchell-Mom get into second place on those soft tyres? Is there anything left to throw at Ballast Kiss here as we see Noah Tuamela, his connection just struggling to hold on to that 5th position in the race then. They're all going to come through as one then as we go into the final sector of the race. And Nuendorf, having lost that pole, can he retake the lead? With one final corner to go, you see James Knox just a few seconds ahead of him. That's not going to bother them at all. Towards the line they come, and Ballast Kiss is going to take another victory here in the first race of the day at Brands Hatch. Tim Nuendorf finishes 2nd. Scott Mitchell-Mom is 3rd. Bradley Sellers is 4th. And then it's Noah Tuamela, Zux, Axon, Nichols, Kiss, and Horvath, your top 10.
What an absolute cracking race that we have to start the evening. And I'm going to be, well, excited to see what happens for the next two. It's, well, reverse grids next, isn't it?
No, it is the grid order from race 2. Race 3 is the
Okay,
reverse grid.
so pretty much more of the same coming into the second race.
More of the same, but a little different, of course, because those who save their soft tyres might choose to use them either in race 2 or race 3. Let's see a replay at the start. This is Mark Horvath. Then when we cut to Nuendorf, losing that pole position, did start on the inside, but saw Ballast Kiss go around the outside of him, and that was ending up ultimately to be a decisive moment in the race because Nuendorf tries he might, could not find a way back through. But he did very, very well, nonetheless, to hold on from Scott Mitchell-Mom on the faster compound of tyre. And oh dear, that was Hargitay and Ockenhaug. Hargitay being taken out almost by Ockenhaug there. And you see Peter Nuendorf dip into the gravel as well, just ahead of them. So they got caught up with, I think, Pajode and Horvath there.
Yeah, quite messy stuff there. And as we got towards Knox, who that was at the point when we said we had quite a clean start, and Knox just decided to exit stage left.
Yeah, Knox having just braked a little bit too late, and there's the mistake from Axon. They ended up releasing Bradley Sellers. That was crucial for Bradley Sellers because it took him a while to get past Tuamela, but he did in the end, of course, get up to that 4th position because of that. And this is Peter Nuendorf. I think he made another mistake going wide, almost in sympathy when Oliver Hargitay, but he just about avoided the gravel, was able to get up the inside into Druids, and Hargitay ultimately able to finish in P11 there, as this is Pajode losing it on the outside, I think, whilst fighting with Hargitay. That's what we saw on stream, and Pajode did very, very well not to hit the wall there.
Yeah, and I think eventually Pajode actually went on to retire from the race in the end, I think.
Yeah, as did this man, Magnus Ockenhaug, who we saw going wide there. And I think that was just before he called it a day. Could well have been some damage as Connor Knight diving up the inside of James Knox there and getting deep into the gravel. That was a very rookie mistake there from the XRL driver.
Yeah, and obviously the problem, and that's Lawless going off there. One of the issues with this circuit is there is the gravel traps, so and not much in terms of runoff, so any mistake is punished big time.
Right, so let's go through the final order of race 1. Ballast Kiss wins again for Simcoe to extend his championship lead. Tim Neuendorf, a brilliant second. Scott Mitchell-Mom gets up to third with Bradley Sellers in fourth. And Noah Toyomela holds on to fifth from Adam Zooks. Then it's Alan Axon seventh. Jack Nichols recovered to eighth. Tibor Kiss ninth. And Mark Horvath rounded out the top 10. Oliver Hargitay only able to get up to 11th ahead of Peter Neuendorf. Peter Schoenemann, the second of our Peters, is 13th ahead of Thomas Raschke, who started at the very back of the grid. Connor Knight is 15th ahead of James Knox. Of course, Knox qualified well, made that big mistake in the gravel that put him down the order. And then Brody Lawless, our final finisher, despite hitting the wall with that big mistake of his own in the KV86 powerhouse. Not finishing the race, of course, Stanislas Bajard and Magnus Ockenhaug, who hopefully will rejoin us for race 2, which will, of course, be the 100th EERC British Touring Car round. Magnus Ockenhaug said in the 100-bit simulation chat, hunting drive-through penalties here. So no wonder he decided to call it quits. But yes, certainly a fantastic lead fight, and very much expect the shoe to be on the other foot, because Mitchell-Mom and Bradley Sellers have both used their soft tyres, whereas Kiss and Neuendorf, and indeed Adam Zooks and Al Axon, have got softs to spare here. And don't forget about Jack Nichols in 7th as well. He could be a factor too, if he can fight his way through the field. So it'll be interesting to see who decides to use the softs now and who decides to wait until race 3.
Well, like I said, if I was Kiss and Neuendorf, I'd wait until race 3 for my to use my softer tyres, just so it gives me a bit more grip and ability to cut through the field.
It's a calculated risk, of course, because they know Mitchell-Mom and Sellers right behind haven't got any softs to use behind them, so they've got a row of sort of buffer behind them to the likes of Zooks, Axon, Nichols, and Kiss, for instance.
Yeah.
Always get Tibor Kiss and Ballast Kiss mixed up. They're not related, of course. 1 S for Tibor Kiss, 2 kisses for Ballast Kiss, 2 S's for Ballast Kiss.
2 kisses for Kiss.
Yeah, yeah. I'm seeing double here. 4 kisses. Oh dear.
There's the risk as well of if you leave your soft till race 3. Race 3 could be wet, and then you lose your soft tyres.
Randomised weather, of course, for race 3. We know in the UK, slightly more likely to rain than at some of the other places we raced at, like Zandvoort, for instance. We haven't seen any rain yet in any of the rounds so far this season, but at places like Alton Park in particular is quite infamous for always raining. I think whenever we ever race 3 there, or race 2 often, yeah.
I was going to say, in real life, Zandvoort's just as bad as England in terms of the weather.
There's only a small ocean in the way, yeah, the North Sea.
Certainly, and obviously having a little bit of a warm-up session again pre-race 2, which, as you said, 100.
They're just sorting out the ballast, I think, is the main thing they're doing here. So, of course, Kiss will have maximum ballast, and Neuendorf not far behind as well for this second race. So 75, 66 kilograms of ballast respectively. So I think if you are someone like Jack Nichols that had to use the full ballast in that first race, you'll be feeling much more confident come race 2 here, as long as you can stay out of trouble.
But then did Kiss have to run full ballast anyway because he's top of the championship?
He did, yeah. Oh, yeah, he did. So it's pretty much the same scenario. So a win with full ballast is certainly something to be celebrated from Ballast Kiss, the Hungarian, doing a fantastic job then as we see him, his teammate Adam Zooks, warming up in number 54.
You could call him Ballast Kiss.
I suppose we could, yeah. We might end up having to do so if he keeps doing really well in this championship, of course. But rest assured, Kings Racing, KV86, who've had a tough couple of rounds, they'll all be looking to strike back. And don't forget the likes of Pot Racer. They've been able to surprise us too in the past. Also, there's my team, but they don't seem to be up to much at the moment, sadly, with Hargitay only occasionally having a decent drive here and there. The rest of the team has really struggled, sadly.
And I think this is really showing, well, the difference between cars and also the difference in setup. I think those who have managed to spend a decent amount of time getting a car set up towards the front, and obviously there's not many other Hondas in the championship. There's only one other Honda running at the moment, isn't there? So
it is kind of hilarious because the last season I think we did go for the Ford Focus, if memory serves, for one of our teams, because we ran 2 teams last season because we had 6 drivers at one point, and the Ford Focus team is like, oh, this car is rubbish. Let's switch to the Honda Civic for next season. And so we did that, and they're like, oh, I wish we could go back to the Focus now because the Civic's not very good. It's just like the grass is always greener on the other side, it seems.
Yep, and
well, the other thing is we missed the boat because I think the Focus, within about 5 minutes of sign-ups opening, they ran out of Focuses. So yeah,
weren't focused enough on it.
Okay, well, no, we decided to go for the Honda Civic already, so there wasn't a huge urgency.
Yeah, I noticed there's no one running the Hyundai, is there?
I think there's one team that's running the Hyundai. One of the Finavon teams, I think, is running the Hyundai.
It was Optiminal that was running the Hyundai.
Optiminal. Oh, okay, so Optiminal, I'm not here. After flipping the Hyundai at Silverstone and having a bit of a tricky time at Zandvoort as well. So somewhat understandable there that Remco de Zee not running either of his cars then, which is probably why we've got a slightly reduced field of 19 cars here. Let's hope next week for the full Brands Hatch Grand Prix on the Grand Prix circuit, we have a slightly better attendance at least. We know Luca Gray should certainly be there. Sorry if I sound a bit like Sean Connery at times. I think I've got a really bad cold throughout this whole broadcast.
We did have quite a few people dropped out for this one. Last minute, a few people on holiday couldn't make it, but it's
that's what happens when you run a championship in the middle of December, isn't it? No.
Yeah. But it's the special event next week as well with the pit stop.
Oh, that's true. The mandatory pit stop, isn't it, for changing car compound?
That will be interesting.
Right, there is Thomas Raschke, 15th in race 1, so he did score a point in his seasonal livery, the Ducking Fast racing car, it's called. And you can see it's got Frosty the Snowman on top, a load of snowflakes, and it's been the livery that they've been using ever since, I think, the very end of November, so he sort of jumped the gun a little bit. But, of course, Zandvoort was, I think, when was Zandvoort again? It was 2 weeks ago, wasn't it? So it was 27th of November, and he introduced the car livery for that. Up until then, he was using a van used by his the heating company that he works for. They have a sort of red livery with the name of the heating company on it, and that was what he was driving. So I actually kind of like the Christmas livery. It makes Thomas stand out a bit more. And as we see, James Knox really struggling to turn into... that must be... He's not in the Honda, is he? He's in
It's a Seat, or Cooper, actually.
Cooper, isn't it? The Cooper Leon. Just through the final corner, they're struggling to get the car turned in. But anyway, should be... only a couple more minutes of practice. I think we should be getting going at 5 past, so just 3 more minutes left of practice then. And yeah, I think Ballast Kiss has got to fancy his chances of doubling up. If he can hold on to the lead with full ballast in race 1, all he's got to do is just do it again. And Neuendorf, of course, will have more ballast on his car for this second race than he did in the first. So the challenge could come from maybe potentially outside the top 4 here, with those, if anybody risks it on the softs behind them.
Yeah, it could be interesting to see. I feel like if I'm sat on the grid now in about 4th or 5th, I'd be going for those soft tyres just as a bit of a Hail Mary. I'm in a good grid spot. See if I can get on the podium or even get a win.
Yep. So just a reminder then. Scott Mitchelman, Bradley Sellers, Magnus Ockenhaug, and who else? I think it's just those 3. Yeah, used the soft tyres in race 1, so they cannot use the soft tyres again. I just want to make sure Magnus remembers that before he gets disqualified here, because he was using the softs in that warm-up. Right, there we go. Just wanted to make sure I sent a message to him before he forgets, because I wouldn't be kicking myself if he did it again. In fact, he has changed the mediums quite sensibly then, as we see the grid forming up then. So, yeah, Ballast Kiss, Tim Neuendorf, Scott Mitchelman, Bradley Sellers, and Noah Toemela might well be the first of our drivers risking it on the softs then.
Yeah, like I said, if you're 4th or 5th, they're saying that Sellers has already used the softs, so... Tuamela using the softs, he's going to take that gamble. Maybe thinks a podium or a win is on the cards now.
Yeah, and we've got to hope for Noah Turner's sake that his connection holds, because that was what cost him in race 3 at Silverstone early in the season, and his connection wasn't particularly amazing at Zandvoort either, with it flipping it on and off a couple of times, but he did at least get to the end in that particular occasion and score good points. As you see, checkered flag about to go out, green flag's on, and up the inside immediately goes Noah Turner on Bradley Sellers, and Adam Zooks there. Oh, and Zooks gets sent off, and that's a horrible crash. That could be a safety car for sure. Several cars in the wall at turn 1, but it's Kiss leading Neuendorf and Noah Toimella, your top 3, with Sellers just holding on to 4th, and then Scott Mitchell-Malm, I think, being overtaken by Alan Axon then through Druids. We've not heard any confirmation of safety car. Looks like
safety car.
Safety car deployed then. Confirmation from Nick Homewood then. So that is going to be at least a lap or 2 behind it. So we are, I don't think we'll have the laps added in like real British touring cars. I think we will just have 23 laps to work with then. So look at this though. So the order: Ballast Kiss, Tim Neuendorf, Noah Tomella, Sellers, Mitchell Malm. Your name? I'm not sure who your name is meant to be.
That is Basinski, Simon Basinski. He's having some problems with our factor.
Okay, Simon Basinski, somehow, I think from the very back of the grid, getting to P6. Alan Axon, P7. As it looks like Basinski overtook Scott Mitchell-Malm under safety car there for 5th position. So that was very, very chaotic. Let's see a replay of that start then, Ryan.
Yeah, it looked all pretty clean at the front, and then, well...
It seems like we lost Raschke and Neuendorf in that one there. So Peter Neuendorf is out.
Yeah, it was the Simco car that in the centre of shot that went to
Adam Zooks,
went off
yes.
track.
Oh, Turimella touches with I think Mitchell-Malm, and then Zooks gets sideways, nearly takes out Mitchell-Malm as well. Or was that Mitchell? That might have been actually Jack Nichols. It was Jack Nichols, sorry, who started on the soft tyres, frustratingly for him, who ended up being sent off there. And there's Adam Zooks having his moment. Oh, and then I think there was the contact with Jack Nichols, who just couldn't avoid the Simco in time there.
No, and I think going off down into Paddock Hill, there was that's Nichols.
Yeah, and then he hits Horvath, and there is Thomas Raschke, and I think one of the other Finnebons as well.
Yeah, and there looked to be a few other cars going on the inside of Paddock Hill Bend that was off, so quite a few cars involved there. That's one of the Hondas off as well, so that's Knight.
Problem is they tried to go 4 wide there, and then Connor Knight turns across. I think that was James Knox there. Which is a bit
I just think he was just totally sandwiched there, just didn't really have anywhere to go. Was pinned by Peter Neuendorf, so yeah, absolute carnage. And obviously, hopefully...
Okay, it seems Peter Neuendorf and Thomas Raschke are not out of the race. They both pit, I think, for repairs, which is why I got confused there. We also see that Krzysztof Brzezinski in the Dalma number 57, I think he didn't realise what the safety car was because he clearly not paid attention to the rules, so he has dropped back to where he was when the safety car was called, which was 13th position behind Brodie Lawless. Yeah, this is him making those moves under the safety car and not realising what's happening here. So clearly somebody needed to read the rules and he didn't hear, or he's not in a voice chat, so he didn't hear that the safety car had been deployed, which is a little bit unfortunate.
Yeah, I think at that point I'd be thinking, hang on a minute, why am I passing everyone so easy? At that point, something's not quite right.
So then lap 3 begins. There is Nick Homewood on track. Apologize for the visual glitch. Doesn't seem to like the Optiminal Porsche 911 safety car, which apparently is faster than the British touring car field. Apparently it's a bit faster than the Pascal Eggett's graphics car can keep up with, apparently, for some reason. As there we go. Confirmation, 20 laps to go. And at the moment, Nick Homewood not actually leading the race. But yeah, this is going really, really wide. That car does not look fun to drive at all, particularly for Druids there, as he's almost weaving to get tyre temps in and then having to slow down to make sure he doesn't lose the pack here. But yeah, this is brilliant for Tim Neuendorf and Ballast Kiss, of course, both on the soft tyres.
Safety car lights are off.
It's the safety car in this lap then as Nick Homewood sprints away. Let's hope he doesn't bin it in the last couple of corners. But now Ballast Kiss will lead the pack then. He will choose when to sprint away and restart this race. And yeah, sticking to the inside quite sensibly. And is he going up to speed now? No, not quite. There we go. Waiting pretty late, actually. And off we go now, I think. Sorry, I'm trying to anticipate it rather than... there we go. They're finally up to speed as they cross the line then. So Ballast Kiss picking up his moment quite late there. And it's three soft-shored runners. Ballast Kiss, Tim Noondorf, and Noah Tuomela, your top three. With Bradley Sellers, Scott Mitchell-Malm, and under attack from Alan Axon now. Noondorf goes a little wide. Noah Tuomela with much less ballast, trying to go round the outside as they go downhill towards Graham Hill Bend.
Yeah, and Kiss is trying to stretch a gap. Obviously, this time Noondorf having a bit more ballast on the car, so he hasn't quite got the same level of pace as he did in race 1, but Tuomela does, and he's trying to find a way past Noondorf, which, again, very difficult.
Bad restart for Tipple Kiss, dropping 2 places, but even worse for, I think it was Brody Lawless, who's dropped right to the back of the field now as we see Alan Axon trying to go around the outside of Scott Mitchell-Malm. He has got James Knox also on the softs, who set the fastest final sector of the race so far, and is giving both of them a lot of trouble. Look at Knox trying to go up the inside of Axon. Here we go, and all being pushed almost onto the curb there as you look at Mitchell-Malm going wide. You can tell he's really wishing he had those softs at his disposal now. Look, another soft shot runners. Oliver Hargitay's round goes back to Sockenhaug in the background at Graham Hill. So I think he got tapped around there. As we look at Hargitay sizing up James Knox then. So very, very close battle for 5th position here as the leaders. Noondorf is 6/10 behind. Kiss faster in the first sector, Noondorf faster in the middle sector on this particular lap. Then as Knight in the XRL, Connor Knight has gotten himself a penalty. As look at this, round the outside again comes Alan Axon. Is he going to go all the way around the outside of Scott Mitchell-Malm? That's brave. Look out for James Knox, weaving this way and that though. But Scott Mitchell-Malm holds his nerve, holds the inside, holds on to that 5th position, Ryan.
Yeah, and Mitchell-Malm showing Axon the curb for good measure, and Knox trying to go around the outside. So he's got the outside here, and he's going to have the inside for the next corner after this. So this should be job well done, but Axon goes sideways, and how did he hold on to that? Meanwhile, you got the Hunter Birch car of Hargitay getting in on the action as well.
Here we go.
Meanwhile,
so Brzezinski, I believe, is retired from the race. Okenag has got another penalty, it seems, as Noah Tuomela set the fastest lap of the race so far, I think, chasing down Kiss and Noondorf. He's half a second behind, so Tuomela could strike at any moment. Knox under attack again from Axon, who goes up the inside for 6th position into Druids, and Hargitay's trying to follow him through. That's opportunistic from the Hungarian in the Hunter Birch simulation. The green and white car here as, look, Scott Mitchell-Malm's breaking away because all 3 of these soft shod runners are fighting each other as we cut back to Adam Zooks trying to get past, I think that's Peter Neuendorf just ahead of him, and then Thomas Raschke on the softs behind. And really late move from Adam Zooks, recovering, of course, from being spun around at the first corner, and he's up the inside and up into 14th position there. Very clean move from Adam Zooks.
Indeed, as we go back to this scrap for 5th position, and Mitchell-Malm
final sector for Axon. He is absolutely flying now. He's back past Knox.
Yeah, Mitchell-Malm's got Axon all over the back of him, and Knox has managed to drop a car length off the back, which has allowed Hargitay to be all over the back in that Hunter Birch simulation Honda. And side by side, Mitchell-Malm's made a mistake, and Axon's going up the inside, and through goes Axon into 5th place.
Yeah, very opportunistic there. Mitchell-Malm just went a little bit wide at Graham Hill, and he's going wide at the final corner as well through Clark Curve. And all this defensive work from Scott Mitchell-Malm on the mediums is helping Jack Nichols on the softs, who's now within 9/10 of this battle behind Oliver Hargitay, who we ride on board with at the moment. Look at James Knox positioning himself to the outside. He leaves the door open for Oliver Hargitay to get alongside as they go uphill into Druitt. Can Oliver Hargitay make his way through? He goes a little bit deep, has to defend on the exit here. Hargitay's through into 7th position.
A great bit of racecraft there by Hargitay. The door was left open by Knox, and he didn't need any second invitation there. He definitely smashed that door open.
Lap 10 then of the 100th race in EERC British Touring Car Championship history. as we see Hargitay chasing down Scott Mitchell-Mom here for a sick position. Mitchell-Mom on the mediums, Oliver Hargitay on the softs, looking for a good result for Hunter Birch. It's been a while. The best result for them this season was second in race 2 at Silverstone for Hargitay. Can Hargitay get into the top 6 here? Look at how much Mitchell-Mom is defending, swerving across and all. Nichols tries to go up the inside of James Knox into Druids, and this is all allowing Tibor Kiss and Mark Horvath on the mediums to catch up. That's how much Mitchell-Mom is delaying them here. As you see, Axon has pulled almost 2 seconds clear of them at the present moment, setting personal bests as he tries to chase down Bradley Sillers. 1.8 seconds ahead. Hargitay switches to the outside, tries to cut to the inside with some better momentum here as they're about to start lap 11. Hargitay always been forced to the outside here by Scott Mitchell-Mom, and James Knox waits behind in anticipation of a chance to take advantage and get past both of them.
And Hargitay trying to go for that the switchback, but Mitchell-Mom not allowing that. They're going door handle to door handle as they come up into Druids. Hargitay goes wide, and Knox is going to have a look down the inside. They're side by side again, and Hargitay's got the inside, and he goes back through.
Little bit of a contact there between Hargitay and James Knox, but that was actually really fair driving, really fair racing for Scott Mitchell-Mom to not force Oliver Hargitay off into the gravel at Paddock Hill Bend then, which is exactly what we want to see. A huge train of cars now joining this fight. Bring it on, baby, is what I say. Peter Schooneman on the softs now, right behind Kiss. He's passed his sister team, not a teammate, but sister Finnavon, because there's the white and green team, of course. So Mark Horvath being overtaken by Schooneman, and now Hargitay coasting up to the back of Scott Mitchell-Mom in that battle for 6th position. What an intense fight we've been treated to. Oh, contact, and they're both off. Oh, what on earth happened there? I think there was contact between Mitchell-Mom and Oliver Hargitay, and then I think there was a knock from James Knox as well. Not sure if that was lag or just a sort of misplaced position. There you see Hargitay desperately trying to save it, swerving desperately the wheel, but that could well be both cars out the race, and so unlucky for both of them there.
You could see what Hargitay was trying to do. He was trying to get that switch back. The door was left open a little bit by Mitchell-Mom, but obviously Hargitay caught a little bit off guard by Mitchell-Mom's brake reference. Either that or he completely missed his own reference there, and the two of them off, and I have to say that's probably going to be a bit of a talking to.
More controversy. Peter Schooneman up the inside of Tibor Kiss. Not a lot of room left for either driver there, but brilliant bravery there from Peter Schooneman to get up to P7 then. Just a few seconds ago, he was P10. So Peter Schooneman on the move on those soft tyres then. So certainly we've been treated to an eventful here, race 2. But up front, it is still Kiss and Neuendorf. And Neuendorf, despite having more ballast than he did in race 1, has been valiantly sticking to the back of Tibor Kiss to the tune of 0.7 of a second. And Noah Tuomela not able to make an impression on either of them. He's dropped to 2 seconds behind. I think his connection might have just started to time out a little bit on him and stop him from challenging there.
But meanwhile, Axon has caught onto the back of Sellers. Now, Axon was running nearly a second of a lap quicker than Mitchell-Mom was once he managed to get away. And it's really showing here now. He's all over the back for 4th position.
Yeah. We also see a comment in the chat. The Civic hops on the rear badly, says Wavy Knife. Not sure who that is, but they seem to speak from experience then. So that is again, the problem is when you start the season with the Civic, you can't really change the car without entering a completely new team. At this rate, we might have to do that to stop all of our drivers leaving the team because they seem so fed up with it. But anyway, there is Axon on the back of Bradley Sellers then, and Sellers, who really had to do all the fighting on the softs in race 1, now has got to do the defensive job, as Axon, who made that mistake that let Sellers through in the first encounter, is now getting his revenge here, isn't he, on those soft tyres? But no mistakes yet for him to take advantage of from the back of Bradley Sellers. Meanwhile, here's Horvath on the back of Kiss, both of them on the medium tyre. Schooneman is trying to break away just ahead of them and try and get involved with James Knox who's trying to catch up to Axon as well. But Axon, really, this is the closest fight on track, apart from the leaders, of course, who are still half a second apart then. Nuendorf starting to catch back up to Ballast Kiss, 10th by 10th by 10th, little by little. Oh, slide from Bradley Sellers into Paddock Hill Bend, the rear complaining, and Axon is now right with him as they go into Druids Rhine. Bradley Sellers under real pressure here.
Indeed, and to be honest, Axon really needs to get the move done. There's not many laps left in the day, but they are slowly catching up on Tumule. Sorry, Torrimella, yeah. Axon still weaving this way and that way. Meanwhile, this foe together of Hagatai and Mitchell Marm, I believe. This is round 2. Yes.
Yeah, not a great race 2 for Kings, is it? Because Jack Nichols, I think, may have actually got caught up in a second incident as Hagatai goes really, really wide. He is not taking any prisoners here today, is he? He clearly feels... I think he's probably a little bit apologetic to Scott Mitchell-Marm, but he's certainly not going to play easy after that, as wide goes Horvath, and he goes down to 10th because Stanislas Pajot is back through into 9th place. So the two teammates swap positions once more.
I think Nichols had a penalty.
There we go. He must have had a penalty for either cutting the track or maybe something that might have happened under the safety car potentially. Of course, the first appearance of the safety cars where Nick Homer has rejoined us from the Porsche 911 cockpit, of course. We go into the final 5 laps of the race then, and Balaskis leads Tim Nuendorf by half a second as Noah Toma continues to lose touch with the leading duo.
Indeed, and actually keeping the gap fairly consistent ahead of Sellers and Axon as we look to the pair here. This is the battle for 4th, and Sellers taking a little bit too much runoff there. That's allowed Axon right onto his rear bumper as we come down the back straight, and still status quo between the pair. But you get the feeling that Sellers is starting to feel the pressure a bit.
Yeah, interestingly, Jack Nichols is about 30 seconds behind the lead then, so he's only about 14 seconds away from being lapped here. But with the pace he's got, that shouldn't be a danger for Ballast Kiss. So yet again, the crisis has been averted because I think Connor Knight got a penalty we saw just now. He's gone into the pits to retire as Axon nose to rear bumper on the back of Bradley Sellers here. And yeah, Bradley Sellers is just holding up really well to the pressure. Alan Axon is almost going to have to force the issue here, isn't he? And we know James Knox is only about 2.5 seconds behind. If they fight too much, Knox could take advantage of that.
Yeah, and you can see him closing in the background. Potentially can do it if these two squabble a bit more, but otherwise it is going to run out of laps at this rate. Although actually saying that, he is actually getting quite close to these two. I didn't realise. And still, Axon having another go at Sellers down the back straight, the Brabham straight, as he has a look into Paddock, but still not quite. It's going to have to be a crowbar move in order to get through, I believe.
Yeah, the lap before this one, James Knox was 8 tenths quicker. This lap, he is about 6 tenths quicker, and Axon is through on the inside because wide goes Bradley Sellers, and that was all the invitation he needed. He waited patiently. His time came. Axon is through into the top 4, and that could be his best result in EERC British Touring Cars to date that he's on course for now. As Pajot makes a big error and has to let through Adam Zux, who continues his brilliant recovery after being knocked about in the first corner. He's gone from the very back of the field up to 10th.
Yeah, and this is brilliant recovery from Zux, and it looks like Axon's got the bit between his teeth because he's now pulled out a couple car lengths with only 2 laps to go.
That looks very sideways.
Very sideways, and that's allowed Sellers to get onto the back of him. He's having a look up the inside into Druids.
Oh, this could be Sellers' only opportunity to retake that 4th position. And up the inside he goes. He had to get very physical, almost leaning on him there, as we see Tim Nuendorf I think having a little bit of timing screen trouble there, as he's still 6 tenths behind Ballast Kiss, so not to worry there, Pot Racer fans. Nuendorf is still holding on very convincingly to second place behind Ballas Kiss. But look at this, Bradley Sellers still under attack, and James Knox is thinking, yes, this is exactly what I needed to happen. Bradley Sellers back in front for the final lap of the race, and hopefully these two will crash into each other, and I can bag 4th position here if that happens. As Axon, clearly looking a little bit frustrated with himself after that mistake, has got one more chance now to get back through.
But he's having a look here, is he? No. Sellers goes on the defensive. He's going to go around the outside as Axon, but Sellers says no. So, not many opportunities left for Axon to make this position back.
Yep, that was Axon's one chance. And unfortunately, he got a little bit overexcited, and Bradley Sellers much too sensible not to take advantage of that. But here they are, the two leaders. They've been together the whole race, but Ballas Kiss holds on again to take 2 in a row and stretch that championship lead even further for the Simco team. Great performance from the Hungarian. Tim Nuendorf is second again. Noah Tuomela takes 3rd. Bradley Sellers unexpectedly retakes that 4th position, just holding on from Alan Axon and James Knox. Peter Schumann is 7th in all, and it's that Peter Nuendorf under attack from Pajode at the final corner of the race there. Fantastic defense from Nuendorf there. His son finishes 2nd. He holds on to P11 to get one of his best results of the season so far. Here's Rashke splitting the 2 Kings cars, which is great to see there. But unfortunately for him, Mitchell Mom did get through in the end. So there we go, the 100th EERC British Touring Car race. I can't remember who won the first one in Barcelona.
I have got it, hang on.
Well, as we see a replay then of the start, this is Adam Zux being spun around there, and he still finished 10th after this. And frankly, Jack Nichols had huge damage there from Thomas Rashke as well. It's amazing that Nichols was right behind Rashke by the time the race finished. But just an absolute destruction derby here at the first corner. And this was the first big one, I think, of the season. And definitely the right call to bring out the safety car. Although poor Brzezinski, I think, didn't realise what was happening until halfway around the second lap there.
First race winner was Sven Gielhed.
It was Gielhed and Team Iris, of course.
Yep.
Who we beat in the end in that championship because Team Iris stopped showing up admittedly. But but yeah, that was a really it really shows here. Win number 1 goes to Sven Gielhed. Win number 100 goes to Ballas Kiss. And that was what happened to Brzezinski after he gave those positions back. Restarted in 13th, got spun around at Graham Hill corner, and then his Brody Lawless. Oh, Kiss tapped Lawless around. 2 into 1 simply does not go. And you've got to feel a bit sorry for Brody there. No fault of his own that happened. And this is what happened to... Oh, Ockenhauer being tagged around by Tibble Kiss as well. Tibble Kiss comes to a dead stop and then gets tapped in the rear. And it leads to absolute pandemonium behind as Ockenhauer, out of control, gets tapped again as he almost rejoins while spinning there. And then even Lawless gets through too. Just a bit of a mess, and I'm afraid Tip or Kiss at the center of both of those. This is the big one with Mitchell Mom and Hargitay coming together. Now, Hargitay definitely hits the back of Mitchell Mom. I wonder, does James Knox hit the back of Hargitay at any point? Yeah, Mitchell Mom, you can't really say he was anything but an innocent victim there. It's just a question of, was Knox just hitting them because they were making contact and slowing down in front of him, or did he miss his braking point as well? That's my question.
To be honest, from those angles, it's the Honda of all that. Was Pajad, wasn't it? Was it Pajad? No, not Pajad.
It was Hargitay.
Hargitay, that's it.
My driver. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel it was mostly the blame on Hargitay there. I think you could see what he was trying to do. He was trying to get the cut back and do the dummy into the corner, but just didn't quite time it correctly. And the pair going off.
Well, we'll see what the stewards say as I very quietly pass a £5 note to Nick Homewood under the table. but anyway, here are the results of the 100th race, round 2. Not at Silverstone, but at Brands Hatch, of course. of the 5th season here at Brands Hatch, the 3rd event of the 5th season of the championship. So Ballast Kiss wins the 100th EERC British Touring Car round from Tim Neuendorf, and we didn't talk about them much, but they were really, really close throughout. Tim Neuendorf, despite having more ballast this time, I actually think put in a better performance there to challenge Ballast Kiss. Noah Toyamela could only finish 3rd in the end, couldn't really challenge Tim Neuendorf in the end. Bradley Sellers, lucky in a way to hold on to 4th, but he did have to have the presence of mind to dive up the inside of Alan Axon there, who made that mistake in the paddock kill. James Knox profited from the chaos ahead of him to finish P6 for Dalma in his first appearance here. In his 2nd race, he finishes P6. Peter Schoenemann is P7. Tibor Kiss P8 after knocking around several drivers, it must be said, at various points of the race in the Kistver. Mark Horvath finishes P9, and Adam Zux, after being almost eliminated at the very start of the race, nonetheless sticks with it and is able to recover to P10, a fantastic recovery. Peter Neuendorf holds on to P11 from Stanislas Bajald. Hargitay, after his crash, gets back up to P13, sorry. Brody Lawless is P14, and it's Scott Mitchell-Marm. What could have been for him? Thomas Raschke, 16th, and Jack Nichols also taken out of that first corner, but he does get to the end in 17th. Not finishing the race, though, were Connor Knight, Magnus Ockenhaug, and Krzysztof Brzezinski in the Dalma. So a 3rd and final race to go, Ryan, and that means we've got to do our random draw with the random wheel that's going to pick which driver, which position from race 2 will start on pole position. Take it away, guys. It's 10th position, so Adam Zux is just as well. He carried on after being taken out at the start, because that means he will start from pole position with Mark Horvath in the Finnevond alongside him. So that could be a very, very interesting chance for Adam Zux to take his first win, I believe, in EERC British Touring Cars.
Yeah, and the conditions don't look to be particularly wet unless they change last minute. So
I haven't turned it on yet.
Okay. So we wait to see what sort of conditions we'll see. I don't know. Is there anyone else that kind of gambled in keeping the softs for the last race? I didn't quite keep tabs on who has and hasn't throughout the field.
Let me have a look. A lot of them, I think. Tibor Kiss might be one of them. Yes, Kiss hasn't used the softs yet. Has Mark Horvath used them in race 1? Let me check. Horvath. I think Horvath is another. So Kiss and Horvath have saved theirs. Did Adam Zux use them at any point? Let me check. Didn't use them in race 1. Didn't use them in race 2. So there we go. Kiss, Horvath, Zux have all got softs that I guess they have to use in race 3 now. Well, unless it rains, of course.
Yeah, so
assuming we know used it. Did Peter Neuendorf use any? Peter Neuendorf, by the way, pitted in the first lap and still got up to 11th in the end. So that was a really, really good defensive drive by him in the end.
Yeah, and Neuendorf, I don't think he did use softs, has he?
No, I think he's another one that's been keeping his powder dry.
Yeah.
Peugeot finished 12th, didn't use the softs. No, I don't think Peugeot has either. So yeah, pretty much everyone 8th downwards feels like they haven't. I think Hargitay definitely did, because he was using them in that race too. Brody Lawless, did Brody use them in the first? I think Brody, as a rookie, was saving them for the final, so he's done that too. Scott Mitchell-Marm used them in the first race, didn't he?
Yes. And so did Sellers in the first race.
Yeah, Thomas Raschke used them in the second. Nichols used them in the second, unfortunately for him. So that means he didn't really get to use advantage of them. Connor Knight, I think, he hasn't used them yet either. Ockenhaug definitely used them in the first race. Yeah, Brzezinski I don't think has. Yeah, Nick Homewood doesn't really matter because he's a safety car driver. So yeah, both underbirches have used them. So I think it's Brzezinski, Knight, Brody Lawless, Peugeot, Peter Neuendorf, Adam Zux from pole position, Mark Horvath in second, and Tibor Kiss starting third. I think everyone else has used the softs at one point or other.
Yeah, and so it could spice things up a little bit into this.
Yeah, I think Horvath might fancy his chances here against Adam Zux, but Zux, this is a golden opportunity for him to take his first win for Simco, and he's finished on the podium. They've got 1-2s at Zandvoort as well, so this is turning into a really promising, very, very good season for Simco. And a horrible season, incidentally, for Underbird Simulation. Which is a shame because usually we win the odd-numbered seasons. That's how it's worked so far. One Season 1, I think, finished runner-up in Season 2. One Season 3. We had a really difficult Season 4 last season. And then, yeah, it seems rather than bouncing back, we just continue to have a really difficult season, which is probably because I'm using similar drivers to last season, admittedly. But hey, you got to have faith in somebody. As we see the practice session continuing, so we should be able to get the final race 101 of the EERC British Touring Car Championship underway soon. And Ballast Kiss is built up a big, big lead in the championship. Let's just briefly go through, recap what the top 10 is going to look like. So Adam Zux will start on pole position with soft tyres. Mark Horvath alongside him also on softs. Tibor Kiss third on softs as well. Then it'll be Peter Schumann starting fourth on mediums. James Knox, fifth on mediums. Alan Axon, sixth on mediums. Bradley Sellers, seventh on mediums. Noah Tomella, eighth on mediums. Tim Neuendorf, ninth on mediums. And Ballast Kiss, 10th on mediums. So this could be the toughest race of the day, certainly, because Ballast Kiss has still got the maximum ballast, I think, to deal with, or unless they reduce it for the final race, which I don't think they do. But he's on the harder tyre, and he's starting 10th then. So I would be amazed if Ballast Kiss can make it 3 in a row and just absolutely clean up here. Him and Neuendorf could certainly have a great fight in the lower reaches of the top 10.
I definitely think there's maybe a chance for Kiss to get a podium. I mean, he's had the pace all through this meeting, all 3 races, as it will stand. He will have maximum ballast, so it seems like the ballast hasn't really affected him. So it'd be interesting to see what he can do from 10th position.
Yeah, it certainly should be. As we see, there's Brzezinski and Rashke just driving together. And yeah, certainly everyone will be hoping for a cleaner first corner than race 2. I think Nick Homer said he was really surprised everyone got through the first corner cleanly in race 1. So I think it's pretty unlikely race 3 with the order being so mixed up, and especially with Tibor Kiss starting so far up front on the soft tyres. I think he might go for it on Horvath and Zux in front of him. So yeah, Tibor Kiss, let's see if his eyes are bigger than his front right brake pedal. I don't know, people brake with the left foot, don't they? It's the throttle that's the right pedal.
Yeah, and
I was trying to think of an eyes bigger than stomach analogy, but I failed there. Because obviously I've been speaking for like nearly 2 hours straight at this point, so without break. So that's the point where you start to in endurance race, and we've done those before, Ryan. You sort of tend to pace yourself, and think about different things to say, or you get distracted, or you got plenty of comments to read through the chat. Whereas this, we had one comment in the chat which says that the car I picked is awful for my team, and I've just had to keep talking with you. Not that it hasn't been a pleasure, but it does get a bit exhausting sometimes when there's all action all the time. Whereas an endurance race, there's at least bits where it dies down after a while.
Yeah, and well, I find I find all the action, the excitement, well, quite enjoyable. Really, it makes quite a change from endurance racing. Although
the races are quite short here as well, because it's 23 laps, but the laps are only about 48 seconds.
Yeah, and well, I've taken on the Murray Walker mantra of commentating while stood up, which
Josh Birch, my team co-owner, also does that when he commentates as well. We're doing Formula E together at the weekend as well. Looks like the weather has started to fall down. It's raining. The windscreen wipers are on all of these cars. And I think Schoenemann and Tim Neuendorf have immediately gone back to the pits to put into wet tires on, essentially. Peter Schumann's gone back out on the wet tires.
Oh, no.
And he might be the only one that's done so. So it's going to be an absolute ice rink out there. Horvath and Peter Schumann both on the wet tires. We go green for the start of the final race of the day then. And Adam Zook sprints away, but it's Horvath that holds on to second position. Tibor Kiss in the middle. And that is Alan Axon going up the inside then as he gets up into fourth position there ahead of Schumann, who's not got good traction then. So the rain is falling down, but it's still technically dry conditions, I think, at the moment. It's not quite full wet territory there as Adam Zooks is just absolutely made hay on his soft tires with Tibor Kiss following him closely behind. But Mark Horvath gambling on the wet so far. It's not worked out for him. Oh, there's been a crash at the back. Safety car deploy.
Yeah,
and this could be a great chance for those to pit onto wets that haven't done so already.
So yeah, there was accident off the start. It looked to be like one of the Hunter Birch cars getting spun around on the start-finish straight. So there was quite a lot of cars being held up by that, which is why we only really saw about half the field come round on that first lap.
Interesting. Not seeing anybody dive into the pits yet for wet there. Oh, it was, I think, Ockenhag. No, it was Hargitay just further up ahead, spinning around, and then Ockenhag ends up having to spin to avoid it, essentially. But yeah, we'll have to see about that one. Ockenhag, I think, is out, and it seems like Hargitay, Peugeot, and Rashke may have suffered similar fates here, unless they're pitting for wet tires.
Yeah, and well, depending on how bad the situation is for Ockenhag, then he could have maybe carried on. I'm not sure. Oh, big hit.
I think it might have been Peter Neuendorf swerving across. One of the pot racers of Innovon swung across there, and Hargitay felt like he had nowhere to go, I think. Yes, that's Peter Neuendorf just ahead of Oliver Hargitay there. And then you see 10th place there just in front.
Oh, you saw what looked to be a jump. That looked to be a jump start.
So Stanislas Peugeot, I think, jumps hits Peter Neuendorf. Peter Neuendorf hits Hargitay, and then it's just absolute chaos then. So because it's so narrow there, Peugeot, I think, really misjudged it here in my mind.
Yeah, and I don't know how Kiss.
We are seeing pit stops for wet tires, by the way. Toemela, Scott Mitchell-Marm, and Brody Lawless. Yeah. Oh, what's your take on that, Ryan?
Yeah, it's just well, carnage really. I was more looking at one point. I was looking at what looked to be Kiss jumping the start because he seemed to be rolling before the lights went
forward
off.
A little bit. Yeah, I think he didn't go over the line though, which might have saved him on that one. So I think we are about to get back underway racing before too long, as we see everyone still behind the safety car. Horvath and Schumann both started on the wets. Rashke, Hargitay, Toemela, Kiss, Brody Lawless, Scott Mitchell-Marm, Ockenhag, and Peugeot are all on the wet. In fact, Nick Homeward is currently showing ahead of Ockenhag and Peugeot because they've gone a lap down, essentially.
The lapped cars will be allowed to pass by to get back on the lead lap.
Okay, there we go. Confirmation then from Nick Homeward of that. Scott Mitchell-Marm pitting again, I think has gone. That's weird. I thought you just pit for the wets. Now he seems to be doing it again. Bradley Sellers is coming in, as is Peter Neuendorf.
Yeah, it looks like, well, you still got Zooks, Kiss, Axon, Tim Neuendorf, Jack Nichols, and sorry, you have to remind me.
It's Brzezinski, isn't it?
Yeah, Brzezinski is still all on the slick tyres. And the rain continues to fall.
Yes, they're gambling on the rain stopping and this being a short shower. It is random weather, so it could go either way here. But those on the wets are, from where I'm sitting, they look like they pulled the blinder at the moment. So Horvath, crucially, was ahead of Schumann before the safety car was called out, and it could well be between those two for the victory. And I think, despite being spun around there, Hargitay, by immediately going on for the wet tyres, could be fighting Thomas Rashke here for the final spot on the podium if they're able to clear all these dry runners and the rain keeps falling here. So this could be a fascinating restart as the lap cars are let through there of Scott Mitchell-Marm.
Yeah, and in the position of the guys at the front on the slicks, you kind of you're really hoping that the lapped runners get through really quick and we get back to
Nurendorf
racing.
has switched. Tim Nurendorf has had enough. He's going for the wet tyres, and that means he's going to be undercut under safety car effectively by Thomas Raschke, Hargitai, Kiss, and Bradley Sellers potentially as well here.
Yeah, and what we'll also find is where they're trundling around behind the safety car, the tyre temperature is going to start to come down as well. So that's going to become an issue for the slick runners.
Especially those on the mediums. The softs might get up to temperature a bit quicker. But yeah, Jack Nichols, Basinski, and Axon. This is a tough call for them to make here because they are banking on it drying up. Somebody going straight off. One of the Finavons goes straight off into the wall there. That's Pajode, who I think was trying to unlap himself and has ended up losing a load of position. So even on the wet tyres, you cannot really go full speed on the outside. There's a big mistake there for Pajode, and that car could be very damaged now.
Yeah, I think by the looks of things, he was just trying to make it ahead on the pit exit line and missed, well, obviously missed his braking point and off into the barriers he goes. I wonder if the stewards really be looking into that, because that's not particularly safe driving behind the safety car.
Yeah, certainly. Could be that the drivers not behaving very well on track will extend the safety car longer than anticipated. And that was why you saw Tim Nurendorf decide it's not worth staying out on these hard tyres, mediums rather. I'm going to switch to the wets. And that's put him 16th behind Magnus Okinawa because Stanislas Pajode comes back into the pits to repair his car.
Yeah, and, well, obviously the drivers know better than I do for what the conditions are like, and obviously the likes of Zooks, Kiss, and Axon are still thinking, oh well, it's still dry enough for the slicks, but when we get to full racing, whether that's going to be the same situation as they come barreling into paddock for the first time, I wonder how many cars we'll see skating off.
It is risk versus reward, isn't it, Max? Of course, if this safety car goes any longer, as you can see the spray now being hit up, so we're officially looking at a wet track here. If the safety car goes up any longer, it could just be a case of who doesn't pit here that ends up winning this race, to be honest, because this safety car's gone on much longer than I think we expected it to.
Yeah, and it will be Sod's Law.
No!
The safety car's coming in.
There we go. So Nick Holm on a wet track has to watch his he's steering that thing. It looks like he's using a keyboard or something to drive.
I was going to say, he looks like he's using a keyboard or a controller for that.
Yeah, it's he's looking a lot like the Greek driver that Team Iris used in EES, isn't it? The driver's using a gamepad or whatever. But there we go. We're back to green flag conditions, and Adam Zooks immediately bolts away from Tibor Kiss, who's worried about Alan Axon behind. But look at Mark Horvath, first of those on the wet tyres then. He is going to have lots more grip as they go into Paddock Hill Bend, but he goes really deep. Does Horvath, and up the inside now comes Peter Schoenemann. As they're all going off track in the background on the dry tyres. So that's Nichols, Connor Knight, and Basinski in trouble there. And it looks like, some of the wet runners in trouble too. It's absolute pandemonium. Horvath somehow has held on from Schoenemann. Now they're right behind Alan Axon, fighting for third, and they've got so much grip. It's not even a contest as they go towards Surtees here. Or is it because Axon cuts across the front of Mark Horvath?
Yeah, and all this is actually allowing Suits to get away. I don't know how.
Schoenemann goes around the outside of not only Horvath, but he's going for Axon as well. Here we go. He's going for third. It's Peter Schoenemann. So many times this season he's won on the road and been denied victory. We saw it at Silverstone. We saw him get a penalty as well as Zandvoort as well, losing out in the closing stage. There's Axon, struggles to get it turned in off track. Off track goes Tibor Kiss. Oh no, that's second place gone for Tibor. And up the inside goes Schoenemann, muscling his way through on Alan Axon there. Axon powerless on those medium tyres, but he's still somehow in third position. Now Schoenemann is free to chase down Adam Zooks 2.1 seconds up the road there. And look at Horvath. Horvath is attacking now as well.
Yeah, you can definitely see the superiority of the wet weather tyres over the slicks here. Although somehow Axon still managing to hold his own, although he has obviously dropped back down to third as Horvath taking those more wet weather lines, trying to go around the outside, find the grip, because
Oh, and look behind. Connor Knight and Jack Nichols fighting over fifth with a train of wet weather runners behind them. Ballast Kiss and Hargitay. Kiss, who started 10th, is fighting with Hargitay, who started down in 13th as well. So they've both immediately went to the wet tyres. And now they are right behind Jack Nichols. Is all. Who's that's gone off there? Is that Knight? Connor
that's
Knight.
a Honda, yeah.
Connor Knight in the XRL running wide. Up the inside goes Kiss on Jack Nichols. So it was not the right call for Jack Nichols to stay out on the mediums. I think Axon is going to discover that too, because Horvath is still fighting away with him for that third position there. Look at the pace of Schumann though relative to Adam Zux. Zux is actually still faster, incredibly, despite the rain continuing to pour down.
Yeah, and obviously Kiss, who started the race in 10th, we've only really done 2 laps of racing, and he's already up to 5th place. So my guess of him maybe making the podium could be coming true here.
Yeah, he's looking for the clean sweep, isn't he? And look at this, Alan Axon under real pressure now, because Ballast Kiss is not messing around. Any points on the table, he comes and takes them. Up the inside he goes into Paddock Burn. So careful not to get on the curb and spin. He has to be so careful on the throttle here, even on those wet tyres, but he's got the inside into Druids. He's surely going to make the move here on Alan Axon, and 4th place goes to Ballast Kiss. Next target, Mark Horvath, who's also on the wet tyres. That's going to be a much bigger ask for Ballast Kiss to get through here. So the battle is well and truly not over yet. And for these wet runners, they've got to be so careful not to trip up over Axon and Nichols here. And indeed, if Schumann can catch the Zux, that could get very interesting, as well as Kiss goes up the inside of Horvath. Horvath is off track at all, hits the side of Oliver Hargitay as he rejoins.
Yeah, and absolute pandemonium, as you already said. One of the things that you'll notice with this is with Axon being on the slick tyres, he has to brake so much earlier into these corners, which has given a real advantage. As you can see here, with what looks to be Hargitay having a go at Axon. Hargitay being on those wet weather tyres, you'll see potentially again Hargitay having a look up the inside. Door not quite open there.
The inside at Druids, we know what can go wrong there. We saw it at the previous race around. And Hargitay just surviving that hit from, for me, I'm pretty sure Horvath sort of cut the track completely there, but he did lose positions in the process, didn't he, to Ballast Kiss. As there we go, up the inside of Axon goes Hargitay as they approach Surtees there. So he's finally through into 5th position and now free to chase down Horvath. But look at the gap between Kiss and Schumann, 5 seconds. But Schumann is going faster now by 4/10.
And my apologies, as my stream has disappeared now.
Yeah, it just went for me as well. It's just come back. There we go. We're looking at. Oh, is that? That's not Hargitay in the pit lane, is it? Or am I? Is it showing him still? No, okay. It looks like Pascal got kicked out of the server. I did fear that that would happen because it's happened to us before in EERC. So bear with us, ladies and gents. Lap 13 of 23, 10 laps to go. Adam Zux leads by 1.6 seconds. Oh, and Hargitay's just got past Mark Horvath, who's struggling out there. Sellers on the wets has got for up to 5th now as well, as we see Axon and Nichols continuing to struggle and fall down lower and lower down the top 10 then.
Surprisingly, Zux is only really lapping, although that last lap was actually nearly a second off of what the guys behind it are doing, so it's definitely getting wetter now as Kiss is running, or has been running quicker than Schumann, although that gap, and obviously an issue for Zux. Zux and Schumann are swapping positions.
Yeah, clearly Adam Zux has made a mistake on the soft tyres. It's too wet at this point. Peter Schumann has taken the lead. We're really sorry we weren't able to show you that. It's as sod's law.
I feel at this point in the race, it's almost a bit too late in the day. It's not going to dry up quick enough to see that sort of tyre advantage come back, as we look to be somewhere close to loading back in. Oh, maybe not.
Kicked out again. Wow, this is a really terrible broadcast, isn't it? Right, well, it's a radio commentary now with right together on track. Tim Neuendorf has repassed his father, Peter Neuendorf, for 7th position. And in fact, he's passed Mark Horvath now as well. So Tim Neuendorf putting in a late charge. I've been impressed by Tim. I think him and Kit and Ballast Kiss have been the 2 standout drivers from today, in my opinion. With all due respect to Schumann, who's doing a pretty good job, having been the first to immediately cotton onto the rain and switch to the wets, along with Mark Horvath. He has taken full advantage, whereas Horvath has really struggled.
Yeah, and all the time, Kiss is gradually closing up to the back of Zooks. Zooks is now a second and a half off of the back of Schoenemann.
Well, Zooks is Ballast Kiss's teammate as well, so knowing that Kiss is leading the championship at the moment, he's probably not going to hold him up too much, is he, at the moment?
Yeah, and I can see as we look to be back,
that's not how I remember the race starting.
Oh,
I think people are almost wishing it started under safety car rather than having that chaotic first half a lap, aren't they? Okay, we did see all the cars on the grid there, including Nick Homeward in the safety car, but yeah, it seems getting into the server is not to be, because the internet, wherever Pascal just lost a load of places in the last half second there. So we see Jack Nicholls has fallen to 16th. So clearly, for those on the dry tyres, it's really, really difficult to stay on track. Adam Zooks is somehow managing to do it, but Ballast Kiss is within a second of him now. And there they are, the two Simcoe cars. Oh, and is that Ballast Kiss getting through then? There we go. So no resistance. I think Ballast Kiss went clean around the outside of Adam Zooks that drew its corner there, Ryan.
Yeah, and Kiss is now able to scamper off up the road for Schoenemann. I mean, the gap is 5 seconds now, so whether or not he can actually make that gap would be a bit of a miracle, but anything can happen, it seems, nowadays. And as you said, Hargitay in the Hunter Birch car, 2.7 seconds behind Zooks, so it looks like that podium possibility is coming.
And the wet runner's about 2 seconds a lap faster than Zooks. You see Axon is actually going slightly quicker than Zooks at the moment, but not by much, as you see him just drift off into the gravel at the final corner and just about rejoin ahead of Thomas Raschke on the wet tyres. So Raschke looking for what could be his first top 10 of the season here. Did he finish 9th at Zandvoort? I don't remember. Into the gravel goes Mark Horvath, I think, there. Or one of the Finnevons has just dipped it into the gravel, the brown stuff, to turn 1. Raschke trying to go around the outside of Axon and Horvath, both together in what is now the fight for ninth place. Hargitay's through into 3rd, past Adam Zooks there. So it's Hunter Birch on the podium. Finally, some good news today. But yeah, there you go. Your top 3: Schoenemann, Kiss, and Hargitay now, with Bradley Sellers to behind Adam Zooks. He's going to catch before the end, but it could be close for Neuendorf and Zooks with the pace that Adam Zooks is doing at the moment.
Yeah, and to be honest, for him to be still this far up on slick tyres is a bit of a miracle, really. All the other slick tyre runners have kind of fallen by the wayside.
Axon trying to dive back up the inside of Raschke into turn 1 on dry medium tyres. I don't recommend that against the wet shod runner, certainly. And Thomas Raschke predictably comes out the victor in that little skirmish there. Yes.
Others up the inside, as we can see at the moment, going into Paddock Hill Bend.
Yeah, Adam Zooks just trying to get to the end of this one and bank some decent points in that team's championship that Simcoe continue to do extremely well in. Peter Schoenemann, though, looking to become, I think, the 7th different winner this season. Of course, we had Ballast Kiss who's won, I think, 4 races total, if I counted correctly. We've had Jack Nicholls that's won a race. We've had Luke Mitchell that's won. We've had Tim Neuendorf that's won as well in Zandvoort. So I think that's about 5 or 6 then so far. Schoenemann would be our 7th. As we see, Tibor Kiss is now past Jack Nicholls as well. So even the softs are better than the mediums right now. And Axon, I think, is discovering the same thing quite rapidly at the moment. But yes, this has been such an up and down trio of races. We're about to start the final lap of the race. Schoenemann leads Kiss by 5.6 seconds then. And Ballast Kiss actually has been a tenth slower than Peter Schoenemann the last couple of laps. So full credit to Peter. He made the call and he took full advantage of it. Ballast Kiss is not looking to challenge him at the present moment.
Yeah, and Hargitay putting in that's fastest lap. He's got fastest lap of the race actually, is Hargitay to his name. But that gap
that might have been before it started raining.
Yeah, the gap was a second, but it seems like Sellers has made a slight mistake somewhere. So the pressure is off for now. For Hargitay, he's just got to nurse this car around one final time. And that would be a podium for Hunter Birch Simulation.
Yeah, their second podium of the season, of course. Always seems at home. The final couple of races of the day, Oliver Hargitay finally gets some good luck and is able to deliver a strong result then. But taking nothing away from Peter Schumann, he has been absolutely exceptional in this tricky conditions. He has not put a foot wrong so far. Tim Neundorf is win 2/10 of Adam Zux, by the way, in the battle for 5th. And Zux on those dries is really going to struggle here. I think Tim Neundorf is through, and Peter might be following it. But Peter's actually 2.7 seconds by, so I think Zux will hold on to 6th. But Peter Schumann now is coming through the final quarter, the number 69, coming through to win for the first time. And I think over a season, it's been quite a number of races since Peter Schumann's last win, but the rain came when he needed it. He crosses the line now, and it's victory, the first win of the season for Peter Schumann. How much did him and Finn Avon need that? They were 6th in the championship going in. Can Peter Schumann turn his season around and put up a title fight here? As all Thomas Rasch fighting away, Mark Horvath has got through on him and Axon, and it looks like Scott Mitchell-Malm's through as well. So late drama there. But it's Schumann that's won from Kiss, who you correctly predicted, Ryan, would get onto the podium. Oliver Hargitay is 3rd. Bradley Sellers is 4th. Tim Neundorf 5th. Adam Zux just about holds on to 6th by a second from Peter Neundorf. Noah Tuomella's just gotten up to 8th ahead of his teammate Brody Lawless. So I think Brody Lawless backed off to let him through there as they crossed the line because, of course, Brody just joined the team now. Noah Tuomela, their main challenger in the Drivers' Championship, of course. Well, Tuomela, another winner from this season, of course, as well. I almost forgot about him. So I think Peter Schumann is definitely our 7th different winner of the season.
Yeah, and well, the mixed conditions has brought us a mixed result. Who'd have thought that?
No surprise to see Balaskis at the front, though. Yeah, he's won 2 races and finished 2nd in the other, despite all the chaos going on around him. But yeah, so certainly a landmark. They say Brands Hatch Indy is a boring racetrack, but it certainly wasn't boring today. It was extremely eventful, wasn't it?
Certainly, we've had 3 jam-packed, action-packed races, and my
looks like on stream Pascal did get back into the server, so we might be able to see some of the replays, possibly, or at least the results screen on stream. But I'll wait for the queue there. But thank you very much for Nick for letting us watch the final couple of laps there. And we hope you at least got something out of that 3rd and final race, because basically the last 10 laps or so were flying blind, essentially. But yeah, plenty of action there. And Balaskis and Peter Schumann, very, very deserving. I think Tim Neundorf getting up to 5th was a great recovery drive as well, though arguably, I think Tim will be kicking himself for not immediately picking for wets under that safety car. He waited a couple of laps and then sort of decided to cut his losses, didn't he?
Yeah, and Neundorf was in the wars a bit as well. We saw him having that getting partially turned around coming out of Clark Curve. So he didn't have an easy run to 5th place, so he had to fight for it.
Certainly right. So let's confirm then our final results from race 3, or at least until Stewart's investigation gives us any penalties. So make sure you check the ERC British Touring Cars Discord, which will have the final Stewart's decisions and the final results in the championship as well. Peter Schumann takes his first win of the season officially this time. He has won race 3s before at Silverstone and had it taken away, so let's hope he holds on to it this time. I think he very much should do. Balaskis gets up to 2nd, a brilliant last. Pretty much ever since the beginning of Zandvoort, he's been absolutely on fire, Balaskis, and well and truly taken this championship by the scruff of its neck. He takes 2nd here in race 3 in the wet. Oliver Hargitay, despite being spun around the first corner, somehow miraculously gets up to 3rd place, which will definitely bring great spirit and Christmas cheer to the Hunter Simulation team. Bradley Sluss gets up to 4th for Rookie Monsters. Tim Neundorf is 5th, despite, again, pitting at the last possible moment for wet tyres. Adam Zux is only able to finish 6th in the end, unfortunately for him, but he does still beat Peter Neundorf in the 2nd of the pot races, who gets his best result this season in 7th. Noah Tuomela is gifted 8th on the line by his teammate Brody Lawless. Messy couple of races for KV86 Powerhouse, with none of them getting onto the podium. Tuomela did get on the podium in race 2, didn't he, in 3rd. Thomas Raschke finishes 10th. Getting a very good result for him. Mark Horvath is 11th. Some mistakes creeping in there for the Finn Avon Green driver. Despite starting on the wets, he had a great chance to finish on the podium today that slipped between his fingers. Scott Mitchell-Malm is 12th, ahead of Magnus Ockenhank, who does at least finish a race at the final time of asking. Alan Axon risked it on the dries, fell to 14th, but does still beat Tibor Kiss, who also risked it on the dries. Jack Nicole's another to risk it. He finishes a lap down. Miserable final race for Jack, and he will be kicking himself after that one. Connor Knight is 3 laps down for XRL. 6 laps down after, I think, crashing out was Stanislas Bajard. And then Krzysztof Brzezinski, our final driver, to fail to finish the race after getting involved in the chaos at the start. So, I think 3 very, very chaotic races then. Let's see if anybody wants to be interviewed by us. I imagine they've forgotten all about us, if indeed the stream is still running, which I believe it should be.
I was trying
Yeah,
to get Peter in, see if he turns up.
I like how Monkey LEF in the chat says, I hope whoever is streaming knows that they're showing the entire server menu and not just the replay. Or is that intentional? I'm pretty sure that's not intentional from Pascal because he's not that incompetent.
I just took over next stream at that point.
But anyway, there we go. So, hopefully... Oliver Hargitay says, to be honest, probably the last event that I attend. Okay. That's not a good sign. Yeah, I'm just trying to see if we can get anybody to interview. Okay, he says it's not the car. We haven't got anybody. I think we may as well just sign off, to be honest. I'm not just going to wait and have a silent stream for 2 hours while nobody wants to talk to us.
Yeah, we can wait till next week.
Yeah, exactly. So you don't have to wait 2 weeks. You only have to wait 1 because we're back 18th of December for the final race of the year at the full Brands Hatch Grand Prix layout, where we hope we don't have to see the safety car deployed again, but those last 2 races seem to give lots of evidence to the contrary there. But certainly plenty of action. Plenty of excitement. I really hope that's not the last we see of Oliver Hargitay. From the sounds of things, he's not happy with the driving standards. So he says he don't want to come on because it would not be... I can talk about round 3, but I would not like to talk about the first 2 because there won't be nice words for me to say there. Okay, that's all we're getting from Oliver, I guess.
That's your cue to report things then. If those not nice
in the next
words
48 hours as well. Yeah. So, okay. Nick, since we can't get any actual drivers, do you want to give your thoughts on the 3 races we've seen and a preview of the first pit stop race, the special Brands Hatch GP next week, and what we can expect from that?
Well, race 1 was good. I hate driving this. Safety car is awful.
It looked a little bit analog rather than digital inputs there.
Yeah,
no, digital rather than analog. Sorry.
Especially in the rain. Just trying not to crash.
You could not get back to the pits quickly enough once the lights went out. I think you were sort of. I could tell you were annoyed when there was all that chaos going on. Like it was. Peugeot was binning it at the first corner under safety car because he was trying to get ahead of the guy coming out the pits on wet tires, and that made the safety car even longer. You're like, God damn it, Santa's left.
Yeah, and then everyone kept pitting and pitting and pitting, so I didn't actually know who was a lap down because of damage repair and a lap down because of tire repair. So it was easier just to tire change. So it was easier just to let everyone through, which is why it took ages.
Yeah, I think that was probably the right call. Certainly, from my perspective, because it allowed Hargitay to finish on the podium. Oh, no, I don't think Oliver went down a lap. I'm not sure he quite did.
No, I don't think he did.
Mitchell Malm that did. It was Mitchell Malm that went down a lap because, and Nicole's, because I think I know Nicole stayed out, didn't he? So a couple of drivers.
I wonder if Mitchell Malm stopped and put the dries on again or something. That's why it come in a second time.
Yeah, it did look a bit unlucky, unless there was some sort of incident for him. Would love to hear his thoughts, but Scott doesn't seem to be around. So
yeah, I didn't.
I don't know how big a hint I can make to people there. That we want to. We actually want to hear from you. Oh, we have got somebody, and guess who? It's our race 3 winner, Peter Schooneman. So let's hear what he has to say about his 3 races at Brands Hatch today. So we're joined now by Fingerbond driver in car number 69, Peter Schoenemann, who, of course,
Hello.
ended the race incredibly well with a victory, a well-timed switch to wet tyres just before the start of the race. You're very, very quick on the escape key, or,
Yes.
or whatever key it is you have to press to get back to the
Yeah,
pit lane.
escape, change the tires, and to press drive again within.
Shall we start in
5
chronological order then? So, Peter, race
Yes.
1, a little bit
Uh,
tricky. You finished
yeah.
just behind Peter Nundorf, I think, the other Peter, in 13th. Didn't quite go to plan. So you were a little bit anonymous on the mediums, weren't you?
Yeah, I got 0.75 out of 1 track limits on lap 2, so I was just making sure I didn't get a drive through, and I didn't practice, so it was kind of my warm up laps as well.
And for those who don't practice, they of course pray for rain, as you do. Race 2, a little bit more exciting for you. You start on the softs. You start, of course, in that 13th, don't you? You gain a couple of places by making some moves on track. You had a good fight with, I think it was Horvath and Tibor Kiss, your teammate, and Kiss, of course, in the Kistfer car. And then there's the crash between Hargitay and Scott Mitchell Marm, wasn't it? That led you gain a couple of places. You end up finishing P7 right behind James Knox in the end by a tune of 1.7 seconds. Much better race for you.
Yeah, the race went a bit more smooth, and the softs did help, especially since we had a safety car at the start, so could save the tires a bit and have something left at the end. So yeah, P7 was good.
Yeah, and that, of course, in the reverse grid, put you fourth on the grid, didn't you? So what were your thoughts going in just before you saw it was raining?
Well, first I just selected the mediums, went on the grids. Then I saw rain, and without thinking, I switched to the wets. And then I was like, "Oh, I'm P4. This might not have
And
been
your
the smartest."
teammate Mark Horvath did the same, didn't he?
Yeah, he followed me blindly. And then I was on the grid thinking it was probably not the smartest idea, since it was only 5% rain for the whole start. And then again, the safety car kind of saved me. So we had to drive slow, and the track was progressively getting more wet. And then
Yeah, because Zooks looked like he was going to pull a gap on you, didn't he? Especially with the
yeah,
safety car.
I was
Even
only
when it
gaining.
released, it wasn't quite full wet at that point, and Zooks
Yeah,
was sort of matching your lap times for quite a while.
yeah, I was not gaining on him until it got like 60% wet, I think. So there was like one point where it got more wet. I was starting to struggle a bit more, and I still was gaining on him. So I knew it was the end for his slick tires. But yeah, the crossover point is apparently quite late.
Peter, it's been quite a while since your previous win in the ERC British Touring Cars. We've had 100 races. You won race 101.
Yes.
And you, of course, won a couple of. I think most of your wins, admittedly, have been for race threes, haven't they? Like Imola 2021 comes to mind.
That's the only one, the only other one, I believe.
Oh,
So
it's only two. Yeah. Oh, it's been that long, hasn't it? Then, so
yeah,
this is a historic moment for you, isn't it? How did it feel?
yeah, very historic. Yeah, I feel fine. Yeah, it's
It's fine.
yeah, it's not something I aim for to win. I just to have fun usually. So a win is a win, but I'm not gonna try my absolute best to get a win every week. That's not where I'm focusing on. So, but it's still nice.
Since you're the only driver that's come to interviews, Ryan, do you have any questions for Peter before we let him go?
No, I think you've hit the nail on the head really with the meeting. Really, it's obviously for Peter, he's jumping with joy with his second win of the BTCC era.
Yeah,
Almost my 100 race as well. I think end of the season I should be over 100.
That's true.
So,
you should
so this
make
is
a special livery for your Bond car for that.
it's
Peter,
a
are you excited
win.
about Brands Hatchler full Grand Prix layout next week? Was this practice for half of that circuit today?
I hope it's a different version, because the track limits were a bit annoying on this one, but yeah, it should be good. I like the track, so we'll see. I
Who
guess.
knows? Maybe we can double up. It's like a busman, like trying to wait for buses. You wait ages for one, and then suddenly two come at in close proximity. Because let's hope Brands treats you well, because it certainly seems to have smiled on you kindly so far, especially the weather.
Yeah, the rain helped a lot. Yeah, it was fun in the rain. Something else than pushing in the dry all the time. I like it.
All right, well then, congratulations, Peter, and best of luck next week when we do it all again at the Grand Prix circuit.
Thank you. Bye bye.
So as we let Peter Schumann vacate the commentary box, then I think before I sign off, final word to you, Ryan.
Yeah, I mean, first time commentating on the BTCC Championship of EERC.
Boy, what a one to pick.
And yeah, it's been an absolute blast, really. Drama and action all the way through the field, and yeah, hopefully more to come at Brands Hatch Grand Prix next weekend or next week.
Yep, certainly. So make sure you join us for that fourth round of the championship as we get towards the halfway stage. It's a slightly longer race with pit stops involved. I think mandatory pit stops, I believe. So you have to use the two different compounds of tire. We did this at Silverstone last season. This season we're doing it at Brands Hatch, the full Grand Prix layout. So it should be a fantastic. Right. So, of course, Peter Schumann winning the final race today. But the man on top in the championship is Simcoe's very own Balázs Kiss from Hungary in number 43. It's going to take some beating to stop him winning this title, the rate that he's going at the moment. Thank you very much for watching. I've been Edward Hunter. Thanks to Pascal Eggert on broadcast direction, Nick Homeward in that safety car, and Ryan Ferris joining me in the commentary box. We hope you enjoyed round 3 of the championship. Round 4 coming up in just a week's time for our final race of the year.